Welcome back to Worlds of Protheka audiobooks. And if this is your first time, be warned. Once you step into Protheka, you'll never want to leave. With beasts who will stop at nothing to protect the women they love, and women who are only just finding out what a real man can be, you'll lose yourself in the dark romance of these fantasy stories. To bring you these free full audiobooks, we have to listen to this platform's guidelines, and they say that Protheka's steamiest scenes aren't allowed. But you can still get them from the unabridged version of any Prothekan audiobook. All you have to do is go to worldsofprotheka.com. With promo code YouTube30, we're offering you the opportunity to get 30% off of any audiobook, ebook, or bundle. We appreciate you subscribing to the channel, as it makes bringing these free full audiobooks to you possible. Don't forget to like and comment to let us know what you think. Protheka's magic is eternal, and this story is just the beginning. Chapter 1. Jenna. A warm yellow sun shines over the forest path. Shadows dapple the swath of brown cutting through the green as birds sing in the trees overhead. It's entirely too nice of a day to be running for my life. Not that I have much choice. Harold will give me anything I want except freedom. I can't live under his booted heel for another moment longer. Ray shifts around on my back, his small arms clinging to the straps of the backpack he rides in. He's a good kid. He knows to be quiet right now. I know he's hungry, tired, and thirsty. So am I, but there's no slowing down. I'm glad for my long legs at a moment like this. Being over 6 feet tall is damned inconvenient when you live in a bunker underground. I like being out here, in the sun, rather than below ground. With Harold, I rush up a steep incline and make it to the top of a hill. I know to keep low, ducking behind a wall of waist-high, waving wild grass. Panting as I catch my wind, I use my hands to part the fronds and peer down at the valley I just fled through. My heart sinks when I see the line of men moving along the same path I've been using. The sunlight glints off their long rifles. Harold's never gotten his hands on the automatic variety, but the single shot is deadly enough. They carry other weapons, I'm sure of it. Ammunition is precious and they won't waste it. Besides, they want to take me alive. Or maybe they don't. At this point, I'm not sure. It's far from my first escape attempt. Harold has grown increasingly cruel and creative with his discouragements every other time he's dragged me back. It seems no matter how far I run, he always finds me. I've lived in 3 different human bunkers in the last year, and every single time Harold has come and has either bribed or threatened their leaders until I was released into his custody. A human living alone on the surface is not going to last long. You need a tribe, and since humans aren't an option, I've decided to go with orcs. Crazy, but I don't have any choice, especially now that I have Ray to take care of. I won't let Ray grow up under Harold's sphere of influence. He'll turn him into one of those violent, misogynistic brutes that are even now trying to track me down. Harold is showing more courage or stubbornness than I would have expected from him. These forest trails were not made by game, though I've seen plenty of deer using them. They were worn by the tread of booted orc feet. We are getting closer to War God clan territory. I have heard the orcs of this tribe are offering succor to trained and skilled humans. Thanks to Harold not letting me learn anything, I don't have many skills to offer other than domestic work. That, and I've always been a natural athlete. But I'm carrying the dead weight of a 3-year-old child, and my head start has evaporated quicker than the sweat from my body. I have to get moving again. If I can make it to a war god settlement, maybe they'll protect me from Harold. Ironic to seek protection from the very people who wiped out human society. But these are strange times. Something wickeder than orcs now roams the dark bowers of what used to be man's domain. I've seen them from time to time. Fleeting shadows, silent and inscrutable as death. Only to blink and wonder if maybe I just saw a shadow after all, but never knowing. Not much further, Ray, I say as I reach back and tousle his hair. I feel his fingers closing on mine. Want some more water? No. All right, I'm going to start running again, okay? You're being such a good boy, so brave. I take off once more. Ray is the child of my friend Stacy and her husband Dick. They went to the surface looking for a life away from Harold. Supposedly, they were mauled by a bear. I've always wondered if Harold didn't have them killed. Regardless, I wound up taking care of Ray. I'm 100% convinced that Ray placed him in my custody because he thinks that I won't run with a child. Another anchor to keep me in his bunker and under his control. Ray is too sweet for words. Also, miserably traumatized and way too mature for his age. His mother was like that too. Always a little bit ahead of the curve, and probably for a lot of the same reasons. I have to leave the trails. It's making it too easy for them to follow me. If I had the time, I would try to cover my tracks, but I don't. I use a small creek to avoid leaving in footprints, then scurry back into the woods once again. I'm trying to head more or less toward the nearest clan outpost. I might get lost, but if I get caught, then all of this will be for naught. Bruises on my body remind me of what's going to happen if I get caught. Especially this soon. Harold hasn't had time to calm down from the last time I escaped. The sun sinks below the horizon, making it difficult to navigate the forest. I did the best I could. I stopped for a brief respite shortly after sundown, feeding myself and Harold bits of hard, dry biscuit, washed down with tin-flavoured warm water. The best I can do. I take off again, careful of the night predators. After the collapse of human civilization, the animals in wildlife sanctuaries and zoos were left to roam the countryside. I'm told that North America, what this place used to be called, is not where tigers are originally from. Yet they prowl these woods. I've seen their claw marks and smelled their spoor. There are other threats too. Venomous snakes, bears, wolves, though I've never heard a tale of them actually attacking a human or orc unless they were starving. I guess we taste bad. The thought is so darkly humorous that I want to laugh. I very nearly do. But then I heard the snap of branches behind me. She went this way. I found her bracelet. My bracelet. I check my wrist, and the simple string bracelet Stacy had given me when we were younger is no longer there. I feel a deep throb of dread. Not only was that the only thing I had to remember Stacy by, other than Ray, but it was a big fat clue as to the fact I'd been through here. I look up and see something that brings hope to my heart. A light burning in the night in the woods up ahead. A hunter's lodge or cabin. It's my only shot. Jenna! My blood runs cold at the sound of Harold's voice. I can feel the aggression and rage behind it. Jenna, you brat! I'm coming for you. You hear me? I'm going to kill that snot-nosed brat right in front of you. He's so close now, maybe less than 20 yards from my current position. There's nothing I can do to save myself. But maybe, just maybe, Ray has a shot. I take off my backpack and both it and Ray onto the rocky ground. I peer over my shoulder at the sound of pursuit and try to keep my voice level. Ray, you see that light? I point toward it. He follows my finger and nods. I want you to run there as fast as you can and wait for me. I'll be with you in just a minute, okay? My voice breaks, and tears well in the corners of my eyes. I'm lying, and it breaks my heart. I'm lying, and Ray knows it. Damn it, kid, do you have to be so smart? Go! I give him a little shove toward the light as the first of Harold's men breaks the clearing. Anderson, 5 feet, 200 pounds of dynamite, the head of Harold's security forces and martial arts instructor. I try to fend him off, but Anderson reaches out and grabs a handful of my hair, forcing me to bend over. He snakes his arm around my neck and pulls me back. It's a naked strangle, a type of chokehold he taught to the other men. And, inadvertently, to me. When we were younger, Stacy and I used to work in the dojo, bringing water, towels, and cleaning up after the men were finished practicing. We watched what they did, and then, when they left us to clean up their mess, we practiced on each other. I know that if I keep my chin tucked, he can't cut off the flow of blood to my brain, which is what this hold is supposed to do. It's only a temporary measure, though. I can already feel him trying to worm his way under. "Run, Ray!" I scream. Ray finally runs toward the light, and relief floods through me. For all of a second, until the second man bursts into the clearing, he spies Ray running and goes right toward him. "No!" I stick my arm out in front of me, parallel with my shoulder. Then I bring it straight back as hard and fast as I can. The point of my elbow strikes Anderson's ribcage, and I hear the air rush out of him. I slip out of his now limp grasp and run toward the other man. With a grunt, I leave my feet and slam my shoulder into the back of his knees. We both go down, and I desperately hold onto his legs so he can't chase after Ray. He disappears into the woods, and I smile through my tears. "Goodbye, Ray. Be a good boy." I see a flash of movement above me. I look up just in time to see Anderson's closed fist right before it hits.
Chapter 2. Idra. I wake up in a cold sweat, a scream tearing from my lips as I rear up into a sitting position on my bed. Ariel, the black and gray Maine Coon who shares my cabin with me, just stares with displeasure that I had disturbed her slumber. Ariel is quite used to me awakening in such a manner. I swing my legs out onto the floor and hold my head in my hands. My silver hair hangs down to almost brush the floor. I hadn't realized it had grown so long. I have not cut it since. I squeeze my eyes shut as the dream comes to the forefront of my mind. Always the same dream, almost every night for the last 3 years. Lightning crashing. Wind driving so hard it seemed to rain sideways. A cyclone spinning off in the distance, tearing up trees and dwellings alike. Stumbling through pitch darkness lit by brief flashes of lighting. Trying to get home to my wife and son, because I knew something was not right. A growing sense of doom had pervaded me since I'd returned from the frontier lands. I'd left my wife and child in the care of one I trusted above all others. Breakstone, an orc whose ambitions I thought tempered by age. But no. Returning home to find my heart laying in a pool of blood, holding the tortured bodies to my chest and screaming to the ancestors. Why? That's when Breakstone comes in. He sought to ambush me while I was besieged by grief. Perhaps if I had not so recently been on the battlefield, he might have succeeded. I had not yet come down from the rush of combat. His boots scuffed the floor, alerting me to his presence. In my dream, as in my memory, I turned about, driving my short, bladed sword through his chest. I can still remember the way he laughed as blood bubbled up in his mouth. His sadistic grin as he taunted me with his last words. "You can kill me, but I killed your wife and son. They're gone forever." I think I said something like, "And so are you," before I twisted the blade and withdrew it, obliterating his heart and silencing him forever. In the dream, the memory, I stand over 3 bodies on the floor and realize that I have lost everything. In the dream, however, the torment grows worse. I can see my life flashing before me through the windows. I can see every time I chose duty over my family, including the very last time. I shout at my past self, pound on the windows until they rattle, to no avail. When I do finally manage to shatter the glass, I awaken in my bed, alone. I rise from the bed at last and put on a simple tunic. Today will be a day of labor. I tie my long hair back with a leather thong and head out to tend to my small farm. I learned how to farm from an exceptional human woman, Geneva, the chief's wife. She taught me to cultivate the foodstuff plants and to care for small livestock like chickens and rabbits. Madga, my wife, loved vegetables. Unusual for an orc, but not unheard of. Her tastes proved infectious. I worked to weed my fields, a back-breaking chore which soon raises a gleam of sweat to my green skin. My hands grow stained with green and brown streaks, which transfer to the tunic and my face over time. Eventually I lose the tunic, now clad only in a breechcloth. I'm not one for modesty, and I doubt I'll meet anyone in the woods today. I live out on the very edge of war god territory. Once I was an orc warrior of some influence. No longer. I do not care for what happens between the different tribes of orcs, or between orcs and humans. I do not even care about the dark elves. I only want to live my life alone, away from anything which might remind me of all I lost because of Orcish politics. Even when Harrick himself came to try and coax me back, I refused. I wasn't there for my family when they needed me the most, and they paid the price. I toil all day long on the farm as the sun climbs across the sky. It's hard work, but honest, and it keeps me in fighting shape. To be honest, I'm probably in better condition now than when I was a soldier 10 years ago. A cooling dip in the nearby slow-moving river sluices all the sweat from my body. I return to my home, hair still damp from the river, feeling a bit sore and tired, but as good as I ever feel since losing my family. I tend to my final chores for the day as the sun sinks low. I already have fires burning inside, and several torches to fend off the wolves. The recent turmoil has caused the wolves to lose a lot of their natural prey. They've grown bolder and bolder of late. In fact, one day last week they tried to get into my chicken coop. When I hear a commotion outside the coop, I think it's the return of the wolves, and grab my double-bladed axe from the tree stump I left it embedded in. Indeed, I hear some commotion coming from the woods. It sounds more like human voices than the howl of wolves, however. I head out, wielding a torch in one hand and my axe in the other. Instead of an armed human, I see a tiny child, not much older than my own had been when I had been betrayed. He looks at me with wide brown eyes that seem more intelligent than they should, for one so young. I wonder what happened to this child. How did he end up out here in the middle of nowhere? The nearest human settlement is some distance from here. I do not think for a moment he could have wandered this far on his own. It's disturbing to think of such things, but there are too many predators for whom a young human child would make an easy meal. He must have parents, or at least a caregiver nearby. Is that why I heard the commotion in the woods? Perhaps this young one can tell me. What are you doing here? I squat down beside him, and his face morphs into the visage of my lost son. I shake my head to clear the vision, trying not to get lost in memory. The young boy reaches out and takes my hand. Then he urgently points toward the woods. "Anna," he says. "Anna!" I thought I spoke the human tongue in these parts, but I don't know what Anna means. I do know that he wants me to go into the woods very badly. I hear a sharpened scream, a woman's scream, and my heart starts thudding in my chest. If I do this, if I intervene, then I have a feeling there will be no going back. My life as I know it, here alone in the woods, will likely be over. I look down at the child as I hear sounds of struggle. The sounds abruptly cease, and then I hear laughter. The boy is bouncing up and down, pointing urgently to the woods. "Anna!" he says again and again. "Anna!" I grip my axe and my torch and gnash my teeth. What should I do? What?
Chapter 3. Jenna. I battle my way back from the darkness, determined not to fall unconscious. I black out several times over the next few minutes. One moment, I am sprawling in the leaves, my jaw aching terribly. The next, I'm being dragged across the forest trail by my feet. Then, another moment of blackness, and I'm sitting with my back against a waist-high boulder. A centipede scurries nearby, frightened of my sudden movement, but I'm not worried about that. Not with Harold looming over me. Harold has stuffed himself with the best food our bunker has to offer and trained constantly with Anderson and the other knights, as he calls them. For a human, he's quite large. 6.5 feet tall, with a thickly muscled frame. His dark brown hair would have grey in it if he didn't relentlessly dye it so much his fingertips are often stained as they are today. He stares down at me with a look of abject disgust. "You know, Jenna, I just don't understand you. I've tried time and time again to be good to you. I've offered you a chance to be my wife on more than one occasion, and all you ever do is spurn me and spit in my face. "That's right, Harry." His eyes narrow to slits. He hates being called Harold. I'm not just goading him out of some sense of cavalier spite. I'm hoping to keep his attention on me so he forgets all about Ray. "You don't understand me. You don't understand me at all, or you'd know I'd rather die than live as your slave." "Slave?" he sputters. "I give you the best food, the best accommodations, the best of everything. How is that like a slave?" "You control every aspect of my existence. It's driving me insane." Somebody has to be in charge and make the hard decision. He shrugs. "I know you can't be trusted to make dictions on your own, Jenna. Look at you. You're a bloody mess, and you've dragged a child out here in the wilderness, right up to the doorstep of bloodthirsty orcs." Harold's face contorts into a grim mask. "I'm tired of offering you my hand, only to have you slap it away. No longer. I told you last time it was your final chance, the last straw. You're not coming back to the bunker. Not alive, anyway." I glower at him. "If you kill me, the bunker will rise up against you. Oh, please. I could gut you right in front of everyone and they wouldn't dare make a peep. But just to keep the rabble calm and placid, we've got a special present for you." He turns and gestures at a wooden cage the men have dragged up on wheels. Its original intent was to hold wild animals. I suppose that's how Harold sees me now, a wild animal who can't be tamed or controlled, so it has to be put down. "We're going to bait a bear and lead it right up to your cage. Then we're going to open the door and let nature take its course. We'll bring back whatever remains and tell everyone how tragic it was that you went out to the surface. You're going to save a lot of lives, Jenna. You should be proud." I spit in his face. He closes his eyes and his face turns dark. I think he's going to strike me, as he often does, but instead he calmly wipes his face and stands up. "I'll spot you this last act of defiance. Okay, boys, get her in the cage. Stanley, go see if you can scare up some rabbits, maybe a wild hog. Must make sure to spread plenty of blood around. We want the bears to be nice and hungry when they find our little Jenna." "Hey, boss, what about the kid?" "The kid?" He sneers. "I don't give a damn about that kid. If we don't find him before we feed this brat to the bears, then we just leave it. Let nature take its course, right?" He's fond of that phrase. He used it to justify his disgusting behaviour on more than one occasion. They drag me toward the cage. I shout as they throw me inside and my knees bruise on the hard bars. Bars on all sides, even the floor. Anderson slams the door shut and uses a chain and padlock to keep it that way. I know Harold's going to kill me, so I keep up a steady stream of creative invectives heading his way. Maybe he'll get angry enough to kill me himself, rather than wait on the bear. If I could, I would kill myself now and keep him from having the satisfaction. My only regret is poor Ray. I've heard that the chieftain of the war god tribe has a human wife, and she's a good person who would take pity on a child. Hopefully he will be fine. I was wondering how they had lugged the cage all this way. I soon find out that they didn't. To my surprise, they drag me a short distance to where one of the few remaining internal combustion trucks sits waiting for us. They heave the cage into the bed of the truck, and I do mean heave. I strike on one of the smaller sides, tumbling around painfully in the cage until my weight makes it slam back to the bottom again. I groan in misery as the men laugh. The more it hurts me, the more they like it. "All right, who's got the keys?" Harold looks around to his minions. Most of them shrug. "Jimmy had the keys," Anderson says, snapping his fingers and grinning. "Where's Jimmy?" "He's off taking a piss, I think. Hey, here he comes now." A man comes into view, running down the forest path. He's shouting something, but I can't make it out. Then I see dozens of dark, grey shapes flowing after him, with a liquid, inhuman grace. My terrified mind makes it dark elves for a brief moment, the one thing I fear more than even Harold. But then I realise these things move on 4 feet, not 2. The howling reaches my ears, and I realise these are wolves on the prowl. Of course. With all of the upheaval, their normal prey has been driven away. Hunger has made them bold enough to attack humans. The one known as Jimmy goes down first. He trips over a branch thrust out of the dirt and sprawls face first. He tries to get to his feet and keep running, but one of the wolves lands on him and bears him down. His terrified face stretches into a scream as the wolf bites down into his shoulder. In a split second, he's swarmed by the hungry wolves, and I can't see him. I can still hear him screaming, though. I mash my hands over my ears to blot it out. One of Harold's minions takes aim and fires. A wolf yelps and falls down, a red patch spreading on its flank. "No, there's too many of them," Harold bellows. "Run!" They flee, and most of the wolves give chase. Some of them remain, devouring Jimmy alive. His screams die down to weak whimpers and then stop altogether. I stifle a scream when a wolf jumps into the back of the truck bed. I try to make myself as small as I possibly can. It comes forward, sniffing, its wet nose black and shiny. The bars, which had seemed so tight together before, now seem terribly wide apart. The wolf sticks his snout inside the bars, and I panic. "Get away from me!" I stomp and kick and startle the wolf. It takes a step back, then tries to come at the CGE from the side. I scrunch over on the other side. What if more than one comes up here? I can't get away from more than one at once. The cage is much too small. The wolf's black taloned hand scrapes at the inside of the cage, trying to get at me. I scream and kick, and it backs off, but doesn't leave. Something blurs into my field of vision, almost too fast to follow. It strikes the wolf's head and blood spatters onto my face. I'm starting at the quivering handle of an orcish throwing axe. What the hell is going on?
Escape this world and step into one where romance and magic intertwine across realms, with stories that are not just standalone tales, but part of a vast, interconnected universe.
Imagine not just one, but 100 stories, where characters, destinies, and legends cross paths in unexpected ways.
100 audiobooks from the Romantasy 100 book bundle.
These aren't just isolated stories. They share themes, worlds, and threads that make every journey feel part of something grander.
Fated lovers, ancient prophecies, and the delicate balance between power and passion.
Get all of these stories today for a mind-blowing 90% off. That's right, 100 audiobooks for the price of 10.
800 hours of audio where these alpha males prove just how puny the human men of Prathika are. 12 complete series where they show their human women what they've been missing and more.
One-time purchase, lifetime access to a universe of interconnected magic and romance.
Prathika's magic is eternal. With the Romantasy 100 book bundle, your pleasure will be too. Chapter 4. Idra. In the end, I couldn't turn down the human child. Every time I look at him, I see my own son, Tenshu. The woman screaming is likely his mother. I can't bear the thought of him losing his family as I lost my own. I let my axe fly at the wolf, menacing the woman in the cage. I have no time to wonder why she's in a cage. I smell humans out, a lot of them. No dark elf or orc. Humans put their own kind in cages all the time, according to their history. But this is the first time in my long life I have seen it. You! I grab the boy and shove him into a wild patch of wolfsbane. Do not move, understand? The child nods and points at the horseless chariot the humans have abandoned. Enna, he says again. I think Enna might be what he calls his mother, or perhaps his sister. It matters not. I only know that I have to rescue her. Only a 4-footed fanged terror bars my way. A wolf, one of many. I see what has happened here. The wolves attacked this strange caravan, and they left the woman prisoner to fend for herself. Somehow her small child got away and went for help. Brave lad. How fortunate he found me. I grab my torch and leap at the wolf, trying to frighten it away. It dodges back but doesn't retreat, its teeth bare in a snarl. I can see flickering silver lightning in its eyes. So, these wolves have been affected by dark elf sorcery. It could have been an accident or an experiment, but they have been driven to madness. A heroic idiocy seizes them. They will fight to the last breath in their bodies rather than let me take away their rightful prey. I jab the torch at the wolf again. In the process, I stab the burning end into the ground. It tears from my grasp, and I curse. That slick wood was hardly a weapon's hilt. Now that I am unarmed, the wolf presses its advantage. It leaps at me, fangs bared. I lash out with my foot and kick its fanged face. The wolf yelps and flies back. It gets up and rushes off into the night. It would seem sufficient physical damage snaps them out of their sorcerous berserk state. I climb up into the back of the horseless chariot to retrieve my axe. It's dark, and I can't make out much about the woman in the cage. Before I can grasp my axe, another wolf leaps into the back of the vehicle's storage bay. This one is bigger than the other, a silverback alpha with eyes filled with both cunning and ferocity. He leaps at me, and I have no time to kick him back. I catch his snapping maw with my hands, grimacing as blood flows from my nipped fingers. The wolf growls, biting down harder, but his strength is no match for my own. I grasp the top and bottom jaws in opposite hands and pull outward. Slowly, the wolf's jaws pry open, wider and wider. It whines as bones crack and muscle fibers tear and snap. It's been too long since I spilled blood and smelled my own running hot and fresh. It awakens the old me, the all-or-nothing me. He's back, and I'm ready for a goddamn war against these wolves. I give a tremendous shout as I rip my arms outward. A sound akin to drumsticks ripped from a roast wild turkey fills the air as I tear the wolf's jaws wide open. The furry body splits at the neck and halfway down the chest before I fling the mangled, bloody corpse off the side of the vehicle. I grab my axe at last and just in time as another of the crazed animals confronts me. This time I take my axe in a two-handed grip and cleave its body in half. The two sides haven't even hit the ground before I reverse my grip and use a sideways swing to take half the face off another snapping wolf. It falls to the forest floor, mortally wounded but not quite dead. The wolves use their pack tactics, while I use the pommel of my axe to crush a lupine skull. Another of its ilk wraps its toothy maw around my left ankle. It seeks to unfoot me, in more ways than one. I snap my leg forward in a kicking motion, sending the wolf flying. Its teeth leave shallow red trenches in my skin, but I barely feel it. All I feel is the fury and majesty of battle. More wolves rush up, the smell of blood driving them into a frenzy. I spin about like a mad cyclone, tearing their bodies to bloody, quivering bits with my axe. I have missed this. I feel alive, my heart pumping blood through my body anew. Blood, fangs, and bits of fur and bone litter the ground, cover my torso and arms. A bleed from a dozen small wounds, nips and bites that got through the wild carnage. I perpetuate everywhere I go. Come forth, I bellow as I shake my bloody axe at them. Come forth and die. At last, I put my axe through the skull of a wolf and turn to find the next foe, only to see there are none left. I turn to the woman in the cage and walk toward her. I use the back of my arm to wipe the blood from my face and clamber up into the back of the chariot with her. I grasp the door of the cage and give it a pull. The door does not budge. I see that it is chained and shut with a mechanical padlock. Human design? There's probably a key somewhere, but why bother? I lift the axe into the air over my head and the woman cringes. Instead of chopping at the chain and dulling my blade, I strike the padlock with the axe's pommel. With the full weight of the axe behind my blow, the padlock deforms and snaps off in one fell swoop. I untangle the chain and swing the cage door open at last. The woman inside is bruised and weary. It's hard to make out her features in the dark. For a moment, her face changes, features flowing until they look like my wife, Magda. I shake it off and thrust my hand toward her. She cringes, shrinking back against the bars of the cage, but I offer my hand palm facing up, fingers open. Come on, I urge. Here, give me your hand. She stares at my hand as if afraid it will turn into a striking snake. This woman does not trust me, and why should she? Perhaps I only saved her from the wolves because I wanted her for myself? Then it hits me. I have someone to vouch for my character. The boy has entrusted you to my care. I turn and stick my fingers in my mouth and whistle loudly. Boy, it is safe to come out now. The child rolls out of the wolfsbane bush and stands on the road as if not sure what to do. The woman in the cage gasps and clambers out quickly. She rushes past me as if I'm not even there and grabs the child in a tight hug. Oh, Ray, she says softly. I'm so glad you're safe. For a moment, their shadowed, huddled forms morph into my dead wife and child. I squeeze my eyes shut and command the vision to be gone. When I open my eyes, everything is back to normal. I have to wonder, if I had been faster, if I had saved my family, would we look this happy together?
Chapter 5. Jenna. I hug Ray's little body against me, tears flowing down my cheeks. I never thought I would see him again. I thought if the wolves didn't finish me off, it would be Harold and his goons, who would come back to find me still locked inside the cage. Ray touches my face and kisses my forehead. I hold him even tighter, blinking away the tears which make my vision blurry. I'm so happy to have him in my arms again. Enna, he says in his childish voice. Enna, okay now? Yes. I hold him at arm's length and smooth his hair out of his eyes. Yes, I'm all right now. I wipe a bit of dirt from his cheek and he smiles. I ask Uncle Orc. Uncle Orc came and saved you. Uncle Orc? He must mean that strange silver-haired warrior who saved me from the wolves. The enormous one the size of a mountain who tore a wolf in half right in front of me. I didn't know orcs were that strong. I am being incredibly rude to our saviour. Rising to my feet, I turn to face the jade giant, one hand still on Ray's shoulder. Thank you. I bow my head deeply, my tone respectful. I'm very grateful that you saved us both. If there's anything I can do to repay you, please let me know. He remains silent for a long time, just staring at us both. I take in details that I missed when I was inside the cage. First of all, my first impression was right. He's a freaking giant. Over 7 feet, I'm positive of that. His build is comparatively lean for an orc, with broad shoulders tapering to a narrow waist. He wears leather breeches, his body covered with blood, and sweat gleaming in the firelight. I see the muscles around his throat constrict as he prepares to speak. Think nothing of it. His voice is deep and hoarse from disuse. How do you humans say? Oh yes, I remember now. It was no big deal. He turns to leave, presenting his massive back toward me. I watch him as he leaves. I'm still stunned from everything that has happened in the last 10 minutes. But I do know that an opportunity is slipping away from me with every breath, every heartbeat. Wait, I call out. He stops, then turns to face me, swinging his axe up and over his shoulder and balancing it there with one hand. What is it? I just want to pay you back for what you've done. I told you, no big deal. And, I say sharply, before he can fully turn away again, I know I don't have the right to ask you for something else, but I have another request. I fear he will get angry. I don't know what I'll do if he does. He doesn't seem to react at all. In fact, I feel as if I could stick a needle in his butt, and he wouldn't so much as twitch. This is a man, an orc, who has seen it all. He just seems to be waiting patiently for me to speak. Now I've lost my nerve, but I struggle through it. It's too important not to try. Are you part of the Great War God tribe? His head tilts to the side and his eyes grow distant. Yes. I almost collapse with relief. Please, I say, cupping my hands together. Please, if the tribe can take us in, I'll do anything you want. Anything. He doesn't move. If his chest weren't rising and falling with each breath, I would think that he was a statue. I feel a swell of panic as he doesn't respond. He just stands there, that long hair blowing in the wind. I'm starting to wonder if he's mocking me, or maybe waiting for me to sweeten the deal. I can do all kinds of things for you, I say, my voice breaking from sheer anxiety. I can cook and clean for you and wash your, loincloth. I put my hands over Ray's ears and drop my gaze to the ground, blushing ear to ear. You can even, take me to bed with you if you want. I'll be very, cooperative. I'm terrified about offering myself up to this monster in a sexual way. I'll do anything to protect Ray, the last piece of my friend I have left. Ray, the one pure good thing in this messed up world. I'll do it for him. I don't have to make this offer. I could run, but what then? Go to another bunker so Harold can find me again? Try to make it in the wild, just Ray and me? No, this is the only logical, clear path to our survival. This orc has already proven he won't hurt Ray. That means a lot to me. The orc seems taken aback by my offer. I think he's uncomfortable all of the sudden. I am just a simple farmer, he says, holding up his hand. I do not have the authority to speak for the tribe, nor do I have the power to make them decide to do anything. Oh! I feel so stupid offering myself up and all for nothing. But, I look up hopefully, but I can take you to them. His face looks strained, and he clears his throat awkwardly. And, you don't have to do, anything to repay me. In fact, you should just forget that I did anything. He turns on his heel and takes a few steps. Then he turns and cocks an eyebrow at me. It takes me a moment to realise that he wants me to follow him. Enna, can I hear now? I take my hands off Ray's ears. I scoop him up into my arms and walk after the big orc. I have to run to catch up to him, but soon I'm walking abreast. Hey, I say. Thanks again. I really do appreciate all that you're doing for me. He grunts but doesn't look my way. I'm not going to give up that easily, though. My name's Jenna, and this little guy is Ray. I've been taking care of him, but really he's the one who takes care of me. Isn't that right, sweetie? Ray nods. Uh-huh. The orc grunts. He still doesn't look our way. I guess that was his way of acknowledging that he'd heard me speak. That's something, I guess. So, I say, clearing my throat. Humans have a sort of tradition. When we meet someone new, we tell them our names, and then they, generally... He looks at me, his eyes inscrutable. Is he angry? Annoyed? After a moment, he speaks. Indira. My name is Indira. Indira. I repeat it. It's a nice name. Can you say it, Ray? Indira. He looks at me, his face scrunched up with concentration. Indra. He stumbles over the name. Indy. Indira looks at him sharply. Indira, the big orc says gruffly, sounding out each syllable. Indy, Ray says. I give Indira a helpless shrug. Indira sighs and turns his gaze forward. We trudge on in silence. My repeated attempts to start a conversation are met with grunts at best. Most of the time he just ignores me and Ray completely. Then I see it. The first black smoke curling into the air from the tribe's stronghold. My heart starts beating faster. When the wall comes into view, my heart beats so fast I can barely hear myself think over the thump, thump, thump in my ears. Oh no, I say in dismay. Do you think they're going to accept us?
Chapter 6, Indira. We draw to a halt outside of the War God tribe's thick stone walls. The sentries have spotted us, but they do not take aim with a crossbow or even raise an alarm. I am well known here, even if I haven't been around much in the last 3 years. My appearance is a curiosity, but not a cause for alarm. I turn toward Jenna, intending to answer her question, when the postern gate doors swing open and a young orc with a shock of red hair running down his scalp jogs up to me. "Indira." He bows his head respectfully, even though I have no official standing in orc society any longer. My past deeds have purchased me political currency. Let's see how much of it they will let me spend. "How are you known, young warrior?" He lifts his head and puffs out his chest, strutting and preening in front of the elder with just one gesture. "I am called Ravok, Elder Indira. It is an honor to meet you." "Thank you." I gesture to Ray and Jenna. "These humans were attacked by wolves near my home. They need shelter, and not just from four-footed predators, if you understand my meaning." He nods and bows his head again. "I will escort you to the gate, Elder, if that pleases you." "It does." I glance over at Jenna to see how she's holding up. Her pretty face is marred with fear. Now that I get a chance to look at her in the bright lights of the stronghold, I realize she's not just lovely, she's stunning. Blue-green eyes set in a caramel-colored face, with very short hair cut almost like an orc initiate's. Her beauty must have made her suffer greatly in her bunker. I feel a swell of righteous indignation on her behalf. Jenna protectively holds Ray in her arms. She's not the mother, but she treats him as if he came out of her own womb. For a moment I see my wife Magda holding our son Tenchu, and a smile forms on my face. It fades just a moment later. A human woman, heavily pregnant, moves through the crowded streets toward us. Her face is knit with concern as she draws near our entourage. "Geneva." I bow my head toward her as she approaches. The chief's wife gives me a cursory nod, then goes immediately to the refugees I've brought with me, not even waiting for an explanation of who they are or what they are doing here. "Are you all right?" Geneva fawns all over my charges. Her brown eyes fill with sadness at the sight of the bruises on Jenna's body. I see her gaze drawn to Jenna's wrists, which still bear deep purple rings from some form of restraints. "I'm fine," Jenna says, "but the boy could use food and water." "You'll both get that and more." Geneva takes her hand. "We have the room and the love." The imposing figure of Harrock approaches, his scarred face knit with affection for his pregnant wife. "Be careful," he says when Geneva takes Ray into her own arms. "Do not strain yourself." Geneva smiles at him as she easily balances Ray on her hip. "Oh, stop it. Centuries ago, indigenous women hunted bears up until the point they gave birth. I'm not suddenly made of glass because I'm with child. Stop being overprotective." I flinch as I remember my own departed wife. She had called me overprotective too. My heart aches with a wound that seems as fresh as the day it happened 3 years ago. Guilt has festered in my heart until it poisons all of my thoughts and actions. I cannot even enjoy time with people I consider friends because all I can think of is my grief. Geneva takes Jenna and Ray into the chief's home. Harrock catches my gaze and gives me a subtle sign he wants me to join them. I had been intending to anyway. I feel a strange sense of responsibility toward Jenna and Ray. Maybe I'm just trying to save them, the way I couldn't save my own family. I watch from the stone wall of the room as Jenna and Ray are given food and water. Once they have supped, Geneva gently asks Jenna about what happened to bring her here into our midst. My suspicions prove to be true. Jenna fled from the leader of her bunker, a cruel man named Harold. My hand goes in front of my mouth when I hear that she suspects he is the cause of death for her best friends, the parents of Ray. Ray stays mostly silent until Jenna reaches the point of her tale where I came in. "I just told this brave little guy to run." Jenna smiles and puts her hand on top of his own. And I found Uncle Indy! He ripped wolves apart! Sukwaj! Splat!" Ray pantomimes my battle with the wolves, nearly spilling his drink. Geneva adroitly catches it and sets it back on the table. "Well, let me tell you both something." Geneva takes Jenna's hand in her own and squeezes it warmly. "Harold is not going to get you here. And if he tries, well, you've seen my husband." Ravok grunts. I will cleave the man in two before I let him so much as breathe your air." "Thank you," Jenna says, tears welling in her eyes. "Thank you so much. I can work. I don't have a trade, but I can cook. I can clean. Right now, you just need to worry about getting better." Geneva smiles brightly. "I'm going to take care of you." I sigh, realizing that my time with Jenna and Ray has come to an end. I don't know why this displeases me so, but it does. "Thank you, Chief Geneva." I bow my head to both of them. I see that I am no longer needed here. I bid you farewell. "No!" Ray hurls himself out of his chair and lands in a crouch. Then he rushes up to me and slaps his arms around my leg. "Don't leave, Uncle Indy. Please don't leave." It starts like a tug, almost gentle, right in the center of my chest. I have fought very hard for 3 years to bury and deny my emotions. I've kept them bottled up so they would not plague me outside of my dreams. The boy undoes all of my hard work with one simple embrace. He clings to me like I'm family. I am unsure of what to make of it. I swallow hard and pat his back awkwardly. "Ah, be a good boy, Ray. I've heard humans say that to their offspring. I have to go now. Can I come to your house and see you, and your rabbits, and your chickens?" I want to say no, to return to the emotional coma I had put myself in, where it doesn't hurt so damn much that my family is gone. Yet, I can't break this boy's heart. "You may," I heave a sigh, "come and visit." "Yay!" Ray squeezes my thigh even tighter. Rather impressive grip for a human child. He might make a fine warrior someday. And then rushes back to his protector. "Anna, did you hear? Uncle Indy says that I can come and see him." "I heard." Jenna looks up at me, and I can see tears welling in her eyes. "From the very bottom of my heart, thank you. If there's anything—" "Really, there is no need. I did what must be done, and no more." I watch as Geneva leads Jenna and Ray to where they might bathe. I tell myself that I have done the right thing, even though I feel regret as they disappear into another chamber. I turn to leave and almost run into my chief. "Indira," he says in a low tone, "I would speak with you in private."
Chapter 7. Jenna. I follow Geneva through the avenues of the Orc stronghold, still unable to believe I've actually made it. Ray trots along sleepily at my side, clinging to my hand. All of the big, burly orcs should scare me. Indeed, they still sort of do. But I realise now that I fear Harold far more. The orcs are what they are, but few of them are as cruel as they are made out to be by human propaganda. The sun is just about to peak above the horizon as we reach a common house on the outskirts of the city. These are the human quarters we have set up right now. You'll have your own room for now, but I promise you it's only temporary. "This is fine," I say, feeling bad even as I feel grateful. "Nonsense. You have a child. You'll get a house of your own, and there will be no more arguing about it." Geneva laughs as she waggles her finger at me. "I am the chief's wife after all. Don't make me pull rank on you." I laugh, feeling some of the tension fly away. In the bunker, you get used to people only doing you a kindness when they want something out of you, usually to exploit you. It's led to a lot of paranoia, but I get the feeling Geneva is just generous for real. It's not an act or a con. I'm relieved that the reputation of the War God's tribe is justified. I follow her inside the common house, tugging Ray along with me. "I'm tired, Anna," he says. "I know, sweetie, we're going to sleep soon, I promise." The interior of the common house is well kept and recently constructed. It's a hybrid of orc and human construction techniques. It has the thick walls for defence that orcs prefer, but the interior has touches of decor and hominess that make it downright cosy. An area rug sucks the tension out of my feet as I walk across it. The pink chandelier hanging from the ceiling looks brand new, its crystal facets refracting the lights of the candles within 100-fold. Geneva leads us to a room with a big bed. I push my hand down on it, unable to comprehend its softness. This isn't stuffed with straw. No, it's not. It's been stuffed with goose down and metal springs to help provide cushion and stability. I've seen beds similar to this before. Harold has one, though thankfully I've never been on it. Ray crawls onto the bed and sighs, rubbing his face along the mattress. It's so soft. He flops down and starts snoring in seconds. The lucky little twerp. I'm surprised to hear that our reputation has extended so far, so fast. She smiles. I'm happy that it has, though, if only for the reason it brought you and Ray to me safely. Her eyebrows arch with an impending query. If you don't mind, I'd like to pick your brain sometime. I know precious little about child rearing, and the Orcish midwives, well, they're a little bit overbearing at times. I smile and put my hand on top of her own. You're free to ask me anything you want, any time you want. Oh, good. Do you think that I should raise the child speaking the Orc tongue first, or the human tongue? I would use both, to be honest. From what I've seen of dealing with children, they pick up new things faster than adults, although it seems like every Orc here speaks the human tongue. My husband has made it a priority. He thinks it will help foster better relations between our peoples. Peace between humans and Orcs, and all it took was a few marauding dark elves. I had intended the quip as a joke. She shudders as if suddenly cold. Just one dark elf is too many. Her lips form a little pout. Did it hurt when you gave birth? I hear it hurts a great deal. Oh, Ray's not my child, not biologically. I reach back and stroke his angel soft hair. I've been taking care of him since his parents died. Of course, you mentioned that before when you told me your tale. What you are doing is very admirable, noble in fact. There's a lot of grisliness in my story, sorry. There's a lot of that in a lot of women's stories, she says. I nod in agreement. As far as pain in childbirth, I think the amount of pain varies depending on circumstances. I do know that the herbalists create drinks for women in labour that are said to help ease the discomfort. Geneva purses her lips and then fixes me with a frank gaze. Now I must inform you of the rules of the base. This is a military base. Make no mistake about it. It's imperative that you don't interfere with the soldiers as they drill or muster, even by accident. I will be careful. I know you will. She smiles. Before you leave the base, you need to obtain permission. It will not be denied, but they like to monitor the coming and goings of everyone here, because it's a military base. I got it. There are more than a few rules, but most of them seem like common sense. At no point am I told that humans aren't allowed in certain places. Some places are off limits to anyone not in the army, which also makes sense. Now that the Orc parts are over, it's time for my rules. Geneva grins. Don't worry, from the sound of things, it's going to be a lot easier than it was when you were in the bunker. First of all, work starts around 6 a.m, the 6th bar, as the Orcs refer to it. I'm going to put you to work in the kitchen as a cook, because you've indicated you'd be comfortable doing that. I nod, not wanting to be a freeloader. I understand. Now, the Orcs are really particular about nightfall. That's when most of the attacks by other tribes occur, and it's the time of the Dark Elves. After the 18th bar, 9 o'clock by human conventions, you're not allowed to wander outside your room. Eventually it will be your house. I nod. I'm not sure how to tell her that a curfew is still better than the bunker, where I had no freedoms except those Harold chose to give me. Oh, and if you do need to leave the base for something, you must have an Orc escort. That part is more for your protection than anything else, and I wouldn't ask for permission to go out unless it's for a really good reason. She arches her brows. Is there anything you don't understand about the rules? No, I think I got it, thank you. I find the rules to be most reasonable. I don't mind working in the kitchen, especially since Ray and I will be housed and fed. We'll have considerably more freedom than we did in the bunker, that's for certain sure. She leaves us to rest for some time, only awakening us at noontime for a meal. As Ray and I wake up and break our fast, she asks if we'd like a tour of the Orc base. I'd like that very much, thank you. Geneva smiles and turns toward the door. Then please, step right this way. I think you're going to like it here, Jenna. I think I'm going to like it here too. She puts her hand on my shoulder for a moment and squeezes. I can't believe Ray and I are lucky enough to have fallen into this generous woman's lap. From the depths of the darkness of Protheka,
or clawing up from the realms of fantasy,
come the most fearsome beasts you have ever seen.
These monsters are done watching from the shadows.
Now, as they step into the light, something unexpected grips them.
Something even they can't fight off.
Love.
Vampires.
Demons.
Dark elves.
Gods.
Minotaurs. Creatures of light and dark.
They will protect their mates.
Do whatever needs to be done.
Morally grey heroes who will burn the world to protect the women who love them.
10 audiobooks.
Fall into over 60 hours of fantasy romance.
20 ebooks.
Over 1 million words of these brutes who will protect their women.
Even if they might destroy themselves in the process.
Get the immersive Protheka fantasy romance bundle.
For 80% off, right now, dive into Protheka at a once-in-a-lifetime discount.
The first bundle to offer both ebooks and audiobooks on worldsofprotheka.com. Protheka's magic is eternal, and this romantasy bundle will make it endless. Chapter 8. Jenna. We step out into the afternoon sunlight, and it hits me how long Ray and I slept. I guess we were both pretty tired, having been running around the woods from Harold and wolves all night. Geneva obviously commands great respect. The orcs all make way for her, even those hurrying on errands. Many of them also give a friendly greeting. It's strange to see an orc smile in such a genial way. Strange, but good. One orc I cannot imagine smiling, no matter how hard I try, is Idra. I wonder if his face would break if he tried. It's strange that he's living outside of the base, on his own with a little hardscrabble farm. I can tell from the way the other orcs treated Idra that he was at one time a man of great importance. Judging from the way he fights, he must have been a venerated warrior. I wonder what happened to him. The deep lines of sadness etched into his green face were not caused by a failure in his carrot crop. Geneva leads us about the base, and our first stop is a big circular building with an open roof. I hear the clash of metal on metal from within, and an orc instructor bellowing at his pupils. This is the training area. It's actually not off limits to non-military personnel. At least certain parts of it are not. Can we go see the fighting? Ray asks eagerly. I don't know if we're allowed to do that, I say gently, tousling his hair. I'm sure Miss Geneva is going to show us plenty of interesting things. Geneva smiles and leads us up onto the ramparts. From the high walls we can see the waving fields of wheat in the golden yellow sun. A stiff wind whips my dress tight against my legs. I can see figures working in the fields as we pass. Our next stop on the tour is a series of warehouses filled with foodstuffs and other sundry items. They are lightly guarded, but one building in particular has 2 fearsome-looking orcs outside, both armed and armoured to the teeth. That's the armoury. That would be one of the places we're not allowed, she says with a chuckle. We continue on until we see a fenced-off area filled with children, both green-skinned and not. I'm shocked to see the children playing and shrieking so freely. In the bunker, Harold couldn't stand the noise. Children are to be seen and not heard, was one of his favourite sayings. Enna, can I go play? I glance over at Geneva and she nods. Sure, buddy, go ahead. He runs over to the fence and before I can stop him, scurries right over it. He's a climber, Geneva says with a smile. Yeah, news to me. I don't think he's ever had a chance to play with kids his own age. We watch as he quickly makes friends. The next thing I know, he's playing tag like he was born to it, shrieking and running after the other kids. After a while, A human female schoolteacher comes out and rings a bell. The other children begin lining up, and I go to retrieve Ray. Can I play with them some more later? Of course you can, sweetie. We continue the tour. I see a very well-stocked clinic, complete with both orc shamans and human doctors. It appears they're blending treatment plans for orcs wounded in battle. I see human stitching and orc magical fields designed to speed recovery. Then, we're led to a building that boggles my mind. Inside, there are thousands of books. Books on shelves that tower up to the ceiling. Is this a library? I gape in astonishment. I'd heard stories of these places before, but I'd never seen one, like most people born after the apocalypse. It is our library. Geneva speaks with a deep sense of pride, and I can't say it's not warranted. I've seen maybe 2 books in one place before now. I whistle at the sight of so many tomes. Where did they come from? Some were salvaged from the ruins of human civilization. Others came from preserved areas in human bunkers, and still others are carried here by human refugees like yourselves. She turns to me and frowns. I have been working to get the orcs more interested in learning to read the human languages, but it's slow going. However, I hope that this will somehow help preserve our heritage and knowledge. We leave the library, but I vow to return later. I was taught to read and write, so I could be an asset to whatever man they paired me off to in the bunker. I rarely get the chance to do it just for fun. And here are some more places where you can't go, Geneva says, gesturing toward military buildings. Just try to stay on the beaten path, yes? I nod. I haven't been here long, but I'm already learning my place. And I'm totally happy to be here. I'm not even curious about what's beyond those points that I'm not allowed to go. We come into the human section again. I'm shocked to see human decorations and traditions being practiced, and not just in the human-run areas. It seems like the cultural exchange is a bit less one-sided here than in other orc camps. Geneva chuckles. The tribe is slowly accepting humanity, not just our presence, but our cultural contributions as well. She shrugs. Well, most of the tribe. Some orcs you can't just read. The harmonious camp is a far cry from the bunker, where bickering was frequent. Harold encouraged a dog-eat-dog mentality. He says that it's the way to make the cream rise to the top. I think he's just fond of keeping everyone at each other's throats. After all, if they're all fighting each other, there's less chance they'll fight against him. I feel more and more like this is a safe harbour for myself and Ray. I owe Geneva a lot to let us stay here. But I owe even more to Idra. He's the one who brought us here. It's his reputation that got us in the door. Not to mention he saved both my life and Ray's life. Geneva, I say as we come back to the common house. I was wondering about the orc who brought us here. Idra? Uncle Indy, Ray pipes in. Geneva's lips purse into a frown. Dark clouds form in her eyes for the first time since I've known her. I get the feeling this is a delicate subject. Something happened to Idra a while back. She heaves a long sigh. His family was killed. I don't have all the details, but I suspect that he blames himself for it. She looks toward the distant wall, and I know she's thinking of Idra. It broke him. He left the stronghold and moved out to the very edge of War God's territory. He's secluded himself from everything, not just us. Oh my God! My hand goes in front of my mouth as I consider his past tragedy. The poor, poor man. No wonder he acts so cold and indifferent. Idra may act cold, but he has a softer heart than you might imagine. I know. He saved us after all. She leaves us at the common house, and Ray lays down for what will probably be a brief nap. I look out the window, toward the north. I wonder what Idra is doing right now. I haven't thanked him properly. Maybe I should fix that.
Chapter 9. Idra. If I thought that I was going to be able to go back to my old emotional coma, I was sorely mistaken. For 2 weeks now, Jenna and Ray have lived with the War God's tribe. Ray has been attending school, learning the Orc language among other things. Jenna works in the kitchen, where she's well liked for being easy to deal with and a hard, diligent worker. I think it was on the 3rd day after their arrival that Jenna first brought Ray by for a visit. They didn't stay terribly long, not the first time. It was quite awkward because I'd never had guests before and didn't even have furniture for them to sit on. Ray has been coming by every few days, always with Jenna. I notice her staring at me from time to time when she thinks I am not looking. If I were a younger orc, I might think she had other intentions for me. I think that she must feel a great deal of gratitude, like she owes me a debt. I really wish she didn't think that. Today I'm not expecting them to arrive. They had just stopped by yesterday. I spend most of the morning weeding my fields, then begin the arduous process of hauling water from the stream for irrigation. It has been too many days without rain, and my plants begin to look a bit withered. After 6 trips, I finally have the wooden barrel full. I scoop it up onto my shoulder and pull the plugs from the holes on either side. Then I walk down between the rows of my plants, dispensing water with 2 stout streams. The barrel is heavy, but the good news is the longer than I carry it, the lighter it gets as the water empties out. I'm on my last row when I see a flock of starlings take off from a nearby tree. I see the barrel down and turn toward the path leading to my farm. Ever since Harold and his minions fled, I've been expecting their return. After I was sure that Jenna and Ray were safe, I'd return to the site of the battle against the wolves. I was hoping to secure the horseless chariot, but to my chagrin it was gone. So were the best of the wolf pelts. Damn Harold for being greedy as well as cruel. I look over toward the house. My axe leans against the wall. I could reach it in a few strides, yet I don't feel the impulse to go after it. For some reason, I don't think I'm in danger. I see why a moment later. Jenna and Ray come into view. I shield my eyes against the late afternoon sun and see him wriggling in her arms. Jenna sets Ray down and he rushes toward me, his face lit up with joy. "Uncle Indy!" I helplessly watch as the child closes in. Ray's become so attached to me these days, it makes me uncomfortable. At least Jenna is not so horrifically irresponsible as to send a child who has only known 3 summers by themselves to see me. That would make me doubt her sanity, to be honest. Jenna often remains at a distance, smiling at me, but letting the interaction play out between myself and Ray. Their presence in my life has affected me more than I would have thought possible. I find myself thinking less and less about my wife and son. I still feel stabs of guilt, but when I do, Jenna and Ray appear in my head, and I replay the moment when I saved them. Maybe saving the 2 of them helped me finally move on past that point when I failed to save my own family. It's the only thing I can think of. From time to time, I have thoughts which shame me. Like now, when I look down at Ray clinging so trustingly to my leg, with Jenna not far away. I think, wouldn't it be simpler if they simply lived here, with me? And Jenna has no maid of her own. No, I can't think of such things. It dishonors the family who I lost. I don't want to follow this train of thought any further. I don't want to even imagine any type of future where I'm happy. I'm not sure I even deserve to be happy. I'd love to look at Jenna and Ray as a kind of second chance. But I lost my family. I wasn't there when they needed me the most. Why should I be given custody of another family so I can lose them as well? "Up, Uncle Indy," Ray says. "Up!" Snapped back to reality by the child's voice, I bend down and pluck him from the ground. I sit him against my hip. "Can I feed the rabbits?" "Yes, you may." I taught him how to do it last week. Once I got him out of the habit of overfeeding them, he's done quite well. It's a simple task, but his young age makes it all the more impressive that he can handle it as well as he does. As Ray feeds the rabbits, I glance over at Jenna. I've noticed that Jenna is very beautiful by human standards. Ethereal, almost like an artist's idealized vision of a woman come to life. I find her beautiful too, and I am no human. It is no wonder that Harold, the ignorant tyrant that he is, wanted her so. Quick as a flash of lightning, the memory of her indecent proposal springs into my mind. I bury it deep as I turn about and get a dipperful of water. I pour some into a metal cup, and then drink the rest directly from the ladle. I go to Jenna and offer the cup. "Are you thirsty?" "Yes, thank you." She takes the cup and drinks gratefully. Her eyes squeeze shut, and for a moment I can just gaze wistfully and wish for things I don't deserve. I return my expression to neutrality as her eyes open. Ray comes over, moving a bit slower now. After a full day at school and then playing with my rabbits, not to mention the walk from the base, he must be very tired. He leans against Jenna and stifles a yawn. "Oh, I have something for you." She puts down her backpack, the one she had been carrying Ray around in, and unzips it. She withdraws a cloth-wrapped platter of food from the kitchen. I unwrap it and find smoked sausages, a bit of deep-fried catfish, and a slice of human confection known as cake. "You should not have done this." "It was no trouble at all," she says sweetly. "I know how much orcs like meat. I made the sausages by hand, just for you." Her smiling face tilts my heart away from melancholy, but I stubbornly rest my mental hand on the opposite side. "Thank you. This is very thoughtful." She beams brighter. I try one of the sausages because it seems like she's waiting for me to do so. A spicy, garlic-heavy flavor explodes over my palate. It's quite good, and I nod as I chew. "Delicious. I'm so glad you like it." She reaches out and runs her hand along my arm. "You've got to fuel those big muscles." The touch of her skin on my body is electric. For a moment, I consider touching her back, but then I drop the wall back down firmly into place. I can be her friend, but that is all I deserve. I've heard gossip from others. Many orcs wish to make her their mate because of her kindness and beauty. I can relate. I have fantasies about things I should not. Whenever I think of one of the others being with her, my heart clenches up. She wearily bends down to pick up Ray. "Well, I should get going. It'll be dark soon, and this little guy is all tuckered out." My lips move before I really think about what I'm saying. "Why don't I walk you back to your quarters? I can carry Ray for you."
Chapter 10. Jenna. I'm a bit taken back by Indira's suggestion. He's never offered to walk back with me before. In fact, a lot of the time it's like he tries to avoid me without actually avoiding me. He's physically present, but he keeps putting barriers between us. His request has me so shocked I don't answer right away. Indira's face is crossed with a worried expression. "I'm sorry if I have offended you. Please forget I mentioned it." "No, it's fine." I smile ear to ear. "You just surprised me is all. I'd love nothing better than to have your company on the walk back, Indira." Relief floods into his eyes. His silver hair catches the rays of the late afternoon sun as he turns to grab his axe and secure it to his back. "Come, Ray." He takes him under the arms. "Up." Ray smiles as the massive orc lifts him and puts him on his hip. They look so natural together. It's uncanny. This sight should be the weirdest, strangest thing, and yet it's all so normal. We walk down the path and start chatting. I've never worked with such lustrous flour as they have in the kitchens. I've asked Janine what the secret is, but she just sticks her tongue out at me and laughs. It's a technique one of the humans taught to us, involving using fish innards as fertilizer. The wheat grows up much healthier and stronger, or so I'm told by Geneva. You and Geneva seem to be fast friends. He nods. I'd like to think so. She's the one who taught me to farm. I once knew someone who liked vegetables, unusual for an orc, and keeping small animals. I know he's talking about his departed wife. I don't know what to say. He's never broached the subject with me, and I don't want to bring it up and cause him more problems. I am glad that you've settled into the kitchen so well. I do like to cook, and I've never been afraid of hard work. It was the brutality of the bunker I couldn't take, not the toil. I smile up at him. Harold did not have your noble spirit, Indira. He turns away from me, pretending to study the clouds in the sky above. Is he embarrassed? Abashed? It's hard to tell when he keeps everything so bottled up inside. Yet he asked to walk me home. Some part of him must want to reach out to me. That makes me very happy for some reason. I hope that you never see that man again. Me too. I look over at him again. You know, it's really easy for me to talk to you, Indira. He seems surprised, but he nods. I think maybe he's pleased with the idea, but you never know with this guy. He has the stone-faced thing down to an exact science. Indira shifts Ray against him. The boy is now asleep, his cheek resting on Indira's massive chest. The surprising gentleness with which he holds the child makes my heart flutter. Indira is an exceptional orc. Not only did he save us from the wolf pack, and with a display of power and savagery that still takes my breath away when I think of it, he's incredibly gentle with Ray. It's hard to believe that this titan cradling Ray to his chest is the same one who ripped a wolf's head and neck apart with pure brute strength and tenacity. I suppose, though, that a lot of us are different people in different situations. When I was around Harold, my shoulders always slumped, and I was always careful to keep my gaze down lest I make him angry. With Indira, I have my head held high. My shoulders are back, relaxed, and I feel like I can be myself with him. How about you? I ask. Do you find it easy to talk to me? He looks very nervous and snaps out a quick answer. Yes. Well, he technically answered my question, didn't he? So, Indira, besides planting and feeding your animals, what do you do? Do? He seems confused by the question. You know, what else do you do? I mean, do you cook, play an instrument? What keeps you busy aside from your normal everyday routine? His brow furrows with thought. I get the impression no one's asked him anything like this, at least not in a long time. I do like to take walks in the forest. Her cool, dark beauty is comforting when my soul is in distress. That sounds like a great way to spend your time. What else? I do some carving, though I have little skill for it. Carving? Really? What sorts of things do you make? I used to carve birds because... His face grows dark. Someone I once knew liked them a great deal. The details on the wings are the trickiest part. You have to be careful not to carve too thinly or the structure falls apart. This is the most he's talked to me since I've been here. It's great, and I don't want it to stop. His eyes look at me and widen slightly. My heart races in my chest, and I feel a giddiness in my stomach. Oh God, I'm attracted to him. I think I knew it before, but just now, wow. The more I think about it, the more I realise that I'm not just attracted to him. I'm really, really, really attracted to him. It's been building since the moment he saved us from those wolves, and seems to be coming to a head now. I want to ask him about his family, but I dare not do that. Not at this delicate stage. Right now, I'm just grateful that he's sharing his company with me. I feel a tinge of regret as we enter the gates and realise our time together is drawing to a close. I've drawn him more out of his shell than I have managed to do in the last 2 weeks. I don't want to lose this momentum. I want to keep talking to him. We turn the corner and he gestures at a brace of orcs hustling through the streets. Those orcs are from the Golden Arrows clan. We have an armistice with them, at least until we determine the true scope of the dark elf threat. Geneva says that one dark elf is too many of them. He laughs readily. In this matter, as in many others, she is most wise. Then we're at my door. I set Ray down, and he sleepily enters the room and crawls onto the bed. This is it, the end of our walk. I don't want him to go. I want him to stay. It's strange, after so long avoiding men in the bunkers, to actually want attention from one. Yet that's where I'm at. Maybe I have an orc fetish. No, that's not it. None of the other orcs have this effect on me. Only Indira. Well, this is me, I say, stalling for something else to talk about. My mind has gone utterly blank when I need it the most. Thanks for walking me back. It was my pleasure. I get the feeling he means that. Then he turns to go. I feel a surge of panic. My hand snaps out and grasps his wrist. Wait, I say. Then I stand there with my mouth wide open. This is my bedroom. A sudden attack of shyness hits me, yet I still kind of want him to come inside. Oh, what am I doing? Indira's brow furrows. What is it? Do you need something more from me? Oh, I could answer that question in a lot of ways.
Chapter 11, Indira. I stand there, waiting for her to answer me. My skin still tingles from where she touched it last. A lightness in my chest spreads throughout my entire body. I'm happy? It's hard to tell, because it seems like it's been so very long. She looks so shy, acting downright docile. A far cry from the firecracker who refuses to. This is the same woman who fled a violently abusive man multiple times, even though she knew the penalty for failure. When she's with me, I don't see much evidence of that. She seems to go out of her way to please me. I had thought it to be simple gratitude, but after today, I've begun to wonder if it's something more. Whatever the case may be, we cannot simply stand here all night looking at each other. I wouldn't mind, but it might get awkward. Is there something I can do for you? I repeat the question, hoping to shock us both out of whatever fugue has seized us. It seems to do the trick. Jenna blinks rapidly, and then a smile spreads over her face. Well... Her eyes dart off to the side, and she fidgets a bit. Tomorrow is my day off for the week. Would you, like to go on a picnic with me and Ray? Picnic? I cock my head to the side. I feel like I've heard this word before, but I'm not sure where. You pack up food and then take it out somewhere pleasant to eat it. Like eating rations on the trail when you march to war. I nod. I understand. No, nothing at all like that. She laughs softly. I don't think she's upset that I got the concept wrong. A picnic is supposed to be fun. I then realize what she wants from me. My company. I had thought there was some reason she was not able to eat indoors on her day off for a moment. You see, she goes on to explain, Phyllis and some of the other women have told me about a meadow at the south end of the fortress. I'm told it's quite beautiful. Peaceful, as well. I think it would make a lovely place for a picnic. She looks back at the sleeping Ray. He seems so placid and tranquil, compared to the whirling dervish that fed and played with my rabbits. Ray has been pestering me to go for some time. I've really been looking forward to it too. I pondered her request. I wasn't sure what to say or what I even had a right to say. No, thank you. The disappointment spreads over her face like wildfire. I want to say yes, immediately. But then I see my wife's face, and I can't help but feel like some kind of traitor. No, I say again, shaking my head firmly. I back away from her, continuing to shake my head as if that will make my message clearer somehow. No, I cannot. I cannot. I turn around so I don't have to see the hurt expression on her face any longer. I can feel her eyes burning into me as I walk down the corridor and then exit the common house. I head down the darkening streets of the stronghold, my mind troubled by many conflicting thoughts. It's as if I have an entire hive of hornets inside of my brain, and they're all buzzing at once. Jenna is on my mind the entire walk back to my home. I can be her friend. Friendship is something I can easily offer. She's right. I do find it easy to talk to her. Too easy. I can only imagine my wife must be furious as she looks on from the afterlife. Me, mooning over some human woman. It's a betrayal to my family. I'm the reason they are dead. I as much as killed them. I don't deserve anything more than friendship from Jenna. I will not seek more or allow her to think I could be anything other than her friend. My mind drifts back to the day when I first brought Jenna to our stronghold. After I knew she would be safe, I had gone to leave. Then my chief had asked me for a word in private. Indira, I know that you have shed blood for this tribe many times over. I have no right to ask you for more. And yet, that is the position I find myself in now." I had cocked my head to the side and looked at him strangely. His request was most unexpected, to say the least. "I do not understand. You have many fine warriors here, and they have seen far fewer summers than I. I'm not sure what you think an old orc like me can contribute." He'd laughed, his great chest expanding and falling. "You sell yourself too short, old friend. I am willing to bet your sword arm is as strong as it ever was. Possibly stronger, with all of that work you do on that farm. Geneva tells me that one human would never attempt to farm by themselves, yet you have somehow made it work. I could use that tenacity on the battlefield." I had wanted to argue, but I knew he was right. I may not have been in my prime any longer, but I knew that I had plenty of fight left in me still. "My chief, you still have not told me why you need me to return to the fighting forces." He had heaved a long sigh and then looked to the west. "We need more soldiers to hunt the damnable dark elves." I thought them to be few in number this side of the portal. That may be changing. I have many scouts out in the wild, and they all report the same thing. The dark elf army is increasing in numbers, all the time. At the time, I had told him I would consider the matter. In truth, I had already decided against it. Now, though, I find my feet moving me back toward the citadel. I seek out Harrock and find him going over maps with one of his lieutenants. "Idra! What brings you by, old friend?" "I've come to tell you, my chief, that upon consideration I will accept your offer. I will lead a company to seek and destroy the dark elf threat." Harrock is clearly taken aback. "I'm pleased that you changed your mind. But what is it that prompted you?" I remain silent on that score. I do not wish to fling a private matter into the public sphere. "If you will permit it, I will start gathering my men. We will leave in 3 hours. He chooses to ignore that I didn't answer his question. "Very well, Idra. You do our tribe a great service." "I do the world a great service. The only good dark elf is one kicking and bleeding on the end of an orc spear." I return home at last, packing up my meager belongings for the march. This is the only way I can think of to put distance between myself and Jenna. Even if I break my promise about not meddling in current affairs, it's better than developing feelings for yet another woman. I do not wish to betray my family. It's the only option that I see to let me do so. Because I know that the longer I remain with Jenna, the harder it will be to fight these feelings. The easiest battle to lose is one you do not wish to win in the first place. I must put distance between us. I must march to war.
Chapter 12. Jenna. I awake the next day, feeling the sting of disappointment still from last night. I had truly hoped that Idra would join me on my picnic with Ray. I was prepared to be patient, though. I knew that he had lost his wife and child, even if I didn't exactly know how it happened. That's a lot for someone to get over, and I'm pretty sure that Orcish education doesn't involve much emotional intelligence. That could be changing now with the influx of human values. For the time being, though, orcs like Idra are left without coping mechanisms. I hope that I can bring him around. The thing is, I'm almost positive he wanted to say yes when I asked him. Something stopped him from doing so, though. I rise from the bed, used to getting up this early, even though it's my day off. I leave Ray sleeping comfortably and head to the kitchen to gather up a breakfast for the two of us. When I get there, I find that Phyllis is hard at work preparing the morning meal. She smiles at me as I enter. "What are you doing up this early? Isn't it your day off?" "Yes, it's my day off. I guess I'm just used to being up at this time of day." "As are we all." I notice a big wicker basket sitting on the table, covered with a thick cloth. "What's that?" I ask. "Oh, that? That's yours, sweetie, for your picnic with Ray and a certain platinum-haired orc with an 8-pack. She's teasing me, but the recent rejection by Idra still stings. She sees my expression, and her smile fades. "Hey, what's wrong?" "Idra isn't coming with us." She frowns, putting her hands on her hips. And why not? I don't know any orc who would pass up my pork jerky. He didn't say. Well, you could always try again. See if he's up to it now. Between you and me, I think Idra likes spending time with you. I feel a slight blush come to my cheeks and shrug. Well, I guess we'll have to see about that. I take the picnic basket along with some fruit, cheese and crusty bread. Ray awakens as I come in, and we sit down to our little repast. Are we going on a picnic today? I smile at Ray and tousle his hair. Yes, we are. It's going to be a lot of fun at the meadow. Is Uncle Indy coming with us? My lips twist into a frown. I don't know, sweetie. A knock comes on my door. I rise from the bed and walk over to answer it. Hello? Oh, Geneva. How can I help you? Relax, Jenna. I know it's your day off. Her lips twist into a worried frown. Concern beams out of her steady gaze. I just came to check on you and make sure you're doing okay. Oh, that's nice of you. We're just fine. About to go for a picnic. And Uncle Indy might come with us, Ray says cheerfully. Realization dawns in Geneva's brown eyes. Oh, I see. She clears her throat. I guess you hadn't heard. Instantly, worry gnaws at my gut like a rabid mouse. Haven't heard? Haven't heard what? Geneva peers over at Ray, who is taken to playing with a wooden sword Idra carved for him, and then makes a jutting motion with her chin. I join her out in the hallway and gently close the door behind us. Now I'm really worried. Whatever she wants to tell me, it's something that she thinks Ray shouldn't hear. Instantly I think the worst. Idra has been killed or terribly hurt. Jenna, Geneva begins, keeping her voice low. Idra has gone to make war against the Dark Elves. I flinch, physically struck by the news. What? My voice is weak and breaks like glass. My husband asked Idra some weeks ago if he would rejoin the fight against the Dark Elves. Idra had refused, or so we thought. Then yesterday, he suddenly agreed. Idra is leading a company of the most elite orc warriors on a seek and destroy mission. I'm going to send some of the humans to tend his farm and animals while he's gone. I see. I feel my knees going weak. His mission is victory by attrition. Geneva swallows. To kill the enemy, period. Trust me when I say that Idra is very, very skilled, both in battle and as a war party leader. I nod, and she rests her hand on my shoulder for a moment. If you need anything, please come and find me. I nod again, and then lean my back against the door. I can't believe he left. Like, what's wrong? Why did he leave? I thought he was happy about his simple life. Does him leaving have something to do with me? I hear Ray get off the bed and quickly open the door. Hey, buddy. I smile ear to ear, even though my heart is breaking on the inside. Being responsible for a child means that you don't have the luxury of breaking down when you want to. Are we going on the picnic now? Yes, we are. Go put on your good boots, the one Miss Geneva gave you. I love my new boots. He puts them on all by himself, which is impressive. Uses the shoehorn right and everything. I can recall Idra teaching him how a few days ago. It only makes me miss him all the more. I take his hand and I head for the south gate. The guards there have been told to expect me. One of them, a stocky fellow with a warhammer on his shoulder, smiles at me as I pass. Good day to you, Jenna, and to you too, Ray. Hi, Dankur, Ray says. I smile, but I'm not in the mood for pleasantries. I think that Dankur might fancy me. In fact, there are several orcs who have paid me more attention than usual in the last 2 weeks. They are handsome, fine orcs, many of them in good standing. Yet, I can only feel the sting of missing Idra. I really am crushing on him, hard. The meadow turns out to be just as lovely as I had been told. The grasses wave in the wind, tinted with gold by the midday sun. Dandelion puffs float in the air, along with colourful butterflies, tons of them. Ray gives a hoop and a holler and runs off into the meadow, chasing after the butterflies. It warms my heart to see him so happy. I hate to think of what this dark world has done to us, but Ray is a fighter. He hasn't lost his smile. I seem to have misplaced mine. I can stretch my lips and make the motion, but I don't really feel it. A deep depression sinks over my shoulders. I sulk about the gorgeous meadow as Ray has the time of his life. At one point he stops cavorting long enough to come up to me. "Can we go see Uncle Indy later?" I can't explain to him why Indira isn't around right now. I don't want him to worry, and I'm not sure I can explain the concept of war to a 3-year-old anyway. "Ray, Indira had to go work somewhere else, but he's coming back." "When?" Ray sounds disappointed, even more than me. "I'm not sure when exactly, but it will be soon." I hope I'm not lying. Ray and I have had enough heartache for one lifetime. "Oh, okay." Ray goes back to playing. As long as he thinks Indira is coming back, sunshine has returned to the universe. I wonder if I should feel jealous or not. I don't. I would never begrudge Ray what he has with Indira. Will he really come back, though? Late that night, I stayed awake for hours while Ray slept, dead to the world. I don't know why, but the tears just start falling after a while. I just keep wondering, what happens if he never comes back? I should have told him. I should have told him that I have feelings for him, in no uncertain terms. Maybe he would have stayed then. "Please come back," I murmur to the shadows. "Come back to me, Indira. Please."
Chapter 13. Indira. I creep forward through the underbrush, moss dangling from the trees overhead. My belly hugs the ground like a snake. I fear my efforts for stealth are for naught, but as the humans say, better safe than sorry. The smell of ash, metal, and blood lay thick in the air. The sickly sweet smell of burning flesh mingles with it as well. We're coming upon an Orc-human outpost near the old Georgia border. I fear we are already too late, but dark elves are clever foes. I don't want to just come in, obviously, and get us all killed. At last I drag myself up over the edge of a small rise and peer down at the outpost below. My heart sinks, because we are far, far too late to help anyone here. A soldier's camp has more than just warriors in it. There are workers, often human, who keep things like food and garment cleaning in check. Normally, orcs don't attack such workers because they are seldom a threat. Not so our dark elves. The bodies of civilians litter the outpost just like the soldiers do. One worker had all his limbs amputated, and the wounds cauterized with fire to prolong his suffering. An elderly human woman lies with a dozen arrows in her back. It looks like she was running. Probably the dark elves told her to run and then used her for target practice. Their cruelty turns my stomach. I had thought that when the burning sun prevented them from getting their hands on the stone, it would stem the tide of their number coming to this world from Prothika. Instead, it seems as if their number is increasing. Many smaller tribes have moved their permanent camps here near the border, just to prevent the dark elf invasion at its source. I'm no longer certain this is a tenable position. Our duty is to kill the enemy, victory by attrition, drive them back through the portal. We've stopped them from getting any further than this, but we have failed to press them back or put a serious dent in their number. I summon Boar, one of my sub-commanders, to my side. He moves in a low crouch, a fish-belly white scar on his face twisting his face into a perpetual sneer. It looks like we're too late. He shakes his head and growls. Why will they not fight us? They're using guerrilla tactics, only hitting us where we're weak. A thought occurs to me and I turn to Boar. Send 50 of the men back to Clover Outpost. But that will leave us with less than a dozen orcs. That will be sufficient to give the bodies a proper cremation, so their souls may rejoin the ancestors on Prothika. I do not think there will be any fighting here today. As you say, but why to the Clover Outpost? Think about it, Boar. We got a messenger saying that dark elves had been spotted near this outpost. We do the logical thing and muster a force to counter them. Leaving Clover Outpost unguarded. His face grows grim. I understand. I'll lead them back personally. I nod. I'll rejoin you after we attend to matters here. Boar claps me on the shoulder, then rises and starts barking orders. I rise to my feet as well. There is no one left to hide from down there. I take the remaining warriors and carefully search through the rubble for survivors. Why do these cowards keep attacking the smaller outposts? Kursk, a young male orc with a ton of fire in him and a blue-dyed beard, shakes his axe at the woods, as if the dark elves are still watching. Maybe they are. Come out and face warriors who are ready for you. They are attacking the smaller outposts, Kursk, because they are intelligent. He scowls at me and I glare right back. Why do you give praise to our enemy, Commander Indira? They are worthy only of scorn. They are evil, but they must be respected. I hold his gaze for a long moment to make sure he understands. If we ignore the fact that our foes are canny and well-organized, we do ourselves a disservice. Besides, I let a grin I don't really feel split my face. It's hard to smile when I miss Jenna and Ray this much. The greater the foes we slay, the greater our own glory. He grins back and shakes his axe in the air. I still think a larger base would be a greater prize for them. It would be, and they are working up to it. They are attacking the smaller outposts, not just because they are softer targets. They are trying to separate us from each other. If we allow them to succeed, we will be besieged by enemies on all sides. Kursk grunts as he heaves a wall panel to the side to search for survivors. Then we had best not let them succeed. By the ancestors, what horror is this? I look at the mass of twisted intestines and exposed muscle, the red and yellow, peppered and black flies. My hand goes in front of my mouth as I fight the urge to vomit. They skinned the outpost commander alive, Kursk growls. No, they did not. I smell sorcery at work. I think they turned him inside out. His face pales, and I can tell he's also fighting the urge to vomit. At least his death was swift. I look around at the bloody smears all over the floor of the wrecked hut and sigh. I do not think his death was swift at all. We pile the bodies up and burn them. The dark elves left little behind of use, but we salvage what we can and bear it back to Clover Outpost. I greet Boar, glad to see the base hasn't been attacked. I leave him in command so I can get some rest in my tent. I've been stalking dark elves all night. I drift off into slumber. The same as every night for the past month, I dream of Jenna. I sit near the fire in one of the chairs I carved. Jenna sits beside me, her knees touching my own. Would you like some more tea? Yes, please, I reply, holding out my cup. She tilts the tin kettle and steaming brew pours into my cup. You know, she says, sitting back and crossing her legs suggestively. Ray is asleep for the night. I lean forward and purse my lips, about to kiss her. My eyes snap open in the dark. I heard something. I start to reach for my axe until I feel the cold steel of a blade at my throat. My eyes widen as I see a dark, looming shape crouching over me. Even in the half-light of my tent, I can see it's an elf. His features stretch into a sneer. He puts his finger to his mouth, indicating I should be silent. I see no reason to comply. He's going to try and kill me no matter what I do. Unfortunately, I don't have any options at the moment. If I move, he'll cut my throat. There's something sticky and black on the blade, like tar. Poison? Probably. I see white teeth bared in an ebon face. He's savoring the moment. Not a good move for an assassin, but it's not like I can stop him. A loud drumming echoes through the camp. The alarm. The dark elf has taken off his guard for a split second, and that's all I need. I grab his wrist and struggle for the knife. I'm stronger, but I'm prone on my back. He has leverage and footing. He tries to plunge the knife down into my chest, putting both his hands on the hilt. I manage to deflect it, but the blade scrapes a red line across my side. The burning pain is far worse than it should be for so minor an injury. I bellow in rage and desperation and slam my forehead into his face. The dark elf flies backward, but his knife catches me again on the palm as he falls. I leap to my feet, ready for battle at last, but my vision blurs. My limbs seem weak, ungainly. The poison is fast-acting. I don't have long. I have to make it count. I grab my axe and lift it, but then I can't hold it aloft. My limbs lack the strength. I fall to the ground and stare up at my enemy in disbelief. "And now you die, Idra." He takes a step toward me when the tent flap flies open. A burly green shape tackles the assassin from behind. I hear a loud snap as they collapse in a pile on the floor. "Boar!" I cry, recognizing my fellow commander. "His blade! Poison!" Boar rises from the floor, checking himself for cuts. He seems uninjured. I cannot say the same for the dark elf. He lays folded in half on the ground, folded the wrong way. Boar's tackle snapped his spine in half. I feel satisfaction for that much right before it all goes black.
Earth is pretty much a desolate wasteland since the orcs came over from Protheka, and being a woman, the best you can hope is to be someone's property. Now, after my curvy body catches Korthar's eye, he'll claim me, and I'll serve him, in any way he pleases.
You're mine now. Listen to this story and more when you get the complete Orc Warriors of Protheka audiobook and ebook bundle.
40 books, 19 audiobooks, 19 ebooks. You even get 1 free novella and 1 free audiobook.
All for a shocking 90% off.
Protheka's magic is eternal, and the complete Orc Warriors of Protheka bundle will bring over 100 hours of that magic to you. Chapter 14. Jenna. It feels as if I have my own personal rain cloud which follows me all over the place now. Ever since Idra left to fight the Dark Elves, I've been fighting depression. They say absence makes the heart grow fonder. Well, I was already pretty fond of Idra as it was. Now I'm positively heartsick, pining for him. Ray keeps asking me when he's coming back. I have to tell him soon, but that answer has grown stale with the 3-year-old. Soon I'm not going to be able to hide the truth much longer. I don't look forward to that conversation. Not one bit. I rose this morning from a dream where Idra and I were drinking tea in his house. Ray slumbered in the next room. It was like we were living together, almost like we were married. The dream had been so vivid and so real, I had initially risen from slumber confused as to why I was back at the common house. Then the dream faded, and now I'm still sort of living in that headspace as I work in the kitchen. Horns blast on the walls. I look up from the onions I'm slicing. They've never bothered my eyes, and look out the window. Having lived here for the past month, I know the difference in orc alarms. A single horn blast or beating drums is a direct attack, or a suspected attack. This is different. I turn to Phyllis, who's peeling potatoes in the corner. What does 3 horn blasts mean? I've never heard this particular alarm before. Phyllis's expression grows grave. I'm afraid that it means there's incoming wounded. It's a signal to the shamans and medics that they need to scramble to their posts. I feel a deep sucking sensation in my stomach. It's like my heart just dropped into an endless abyss, and I'm being hollowed out. Phyllis's face scrunches up in confusion. Then the light of realization flashes in her eyes. "Go," she says, standing up and wiping her hands on her apron. "I'll finish up here." "No, I can't. I don't even know if it's..." I can't even bring myself to say his name. I'm so scared. I don't want to make it any more real than it already feels. "It's fine. We were almost ready to take a break anyway." She kind of half smiles but keeps it restrained under the circumstances. "Besides, you picked up a lemon, not an onion." I look down at my hand and sigh. "I'm sorry. I'll be back as soon as I can." "Take your time," she says as I rush out the door. I come out into the streets and make my way quickly to the postern gate. I hear the creak of its timbers before I make it into sighting range. I make it just in time to see a troop of orcs bearing a litter. I can't see the face of the orc on the litter, but I do see a long shock of platinum hair. My hand flies in front of my mouth. The only reason I don't believe him to be dead is the urgency with which they bear him along. They would not bother were he already dead. I rush up toward the orcs, trying to wedge my way in between them. "Please," I gasp, "let me see him." One of the orcs turns on me, half his face covered in a seeping bandage. "Be silent, human. He might be... I can't say it out loud, I just can't. He is an orc warrior. The bandaged face twists into a sneer. The last thing he hears in this world should not be the sound of a wailing woman. I stand there, feeling helpless and watching him go. Suddenly, Chief Harrock and Geneva are on the scene. The orcs part like grease before lye for the pregnant woman. She speaks to one of the warriors accompanying Idra, and then her gaze flashes over to me. Geneva gathers up her skirts and comes my way, while the chief accompanies Idra to the infirmary. "Jenna, go with him." She puts her hand on my shoulder. "I have duties to attend to." "I'll take care of it and find someone to cover you. Idra needs you." Oddly, her words inspire a feeling of confidence and relief. Idra does have feelings for me, or she wouldn't say such a thing. Or maybe this is for my benefit. At any rate, I just follow along the procession, a mute witness to their efforts to save his life. They bear Idra inside the infirmary, and I follow. Shaman Deskar, an older orc with a beaded, braided beard almost to his knees, shakes his bone staff and chants the words of a spell. Meanwhile, the human medics are listening to Idra's heartbeat, opening his eyes and shining a light in them, and more mundane but equally important things. A towering orc, with the red sash of a commander on his arm, moves over to the bedside. He was poisoned with this. He hands them a carefully wrapped bundle. The poison is one I have never seen before. Careful now, the knife is sharper than an ice crystal. The shaman finishes his chant, and a blue glow forms over Idra. The shaman slumps over, supporting himself on his staff. Barely. I have managed to slow the poison in his blood, but we must act quickly. He needs an antidote. "We don't know what kind of dark elf poison this is," one of the human doctors counters. "Then give him all the antidotes." The doctor opens his mouth to counter, then closes it and nods. It couldn't hurt to try. They create an infusion and use a needle to inject it directly into his veins. He's unconscious, so he can't exactly swallow. The doctors and the shaman fuss over Idra for a while, but eventually they put a blanket on him and step away. I'm so worked up I don't even notice Geneva had come into the clinic until she puts her hand on my shoulder. I've spoken to the doctors and the shaman. I fear what's about to come out of her mouth. They think Idra will make a full recovery. Oh, thank God. I almost swoon, but she catches me. Geneva gives me a tight hug, then holds me out at arm's length. It will be touch and go for a while. He's going to be very weak. They say he will need round-the-clock care until his strength recovers. "I'll do it," I say. "I mean, if it's okay with you, I'd like to volunteer." The shaman glances over at us, apparently having heard our conversation. "Chief Harrock tells me you and Idra are friends, Jenna. Is this so?" "Yes," I say, coming to the bed and taking his hand. "It's warm, and that's what counts right now. He's still alive, no matter if he looks to be at death's door." "Then I approve of your taking care of him. He will need more than just assistance with basic tasks. Idra is a very proud and very stubborn orc. He will need someone to both encourage him and hold him back from hurting himself as he recovers." "I understand. I'll do whatever it takes to get him well again." I continue to hold Idra's hand. Slowly, the others filter out of the room until I'm alone with him. I sniffle away tears and put my hand on his forehead. "They say that people who are in this state can sometimes hear people talking to them." I put my lips next to his ear. "I've missed you so much since you left. I don't want you to leave me again, ever. Idra, I love you. I smooth his hair back and then put my head on his chest as the tears flow. Please wake up, my Indira. Please.
Chapter 15. Indira. I drift on a grey plain, neither light nor dark, awake nor asleep, alive nor dead. Sometimes I feel as if things are getting brighter, but nothing ever really changes. I can't seem to recall how long I've been here, or whence I came. Time seems to have little meaning here. There is no day or night, just an endless grey nothingness. Perhaps this is some form of punishment for failing to protect my family. It would be what I deserve. Dimly I can recall the fight with the dark elf assassin. After that, I don't remember anything. I wonder if I am dead. Perhaps my soul drifts toward the distant world of Prothika. Perhaps I will see my ancestors. Or even better, my departed wife and son. I wonder if they will be angry at me. From time to time, I think I can hear a familiar voice speaking to me. I can't make out the words always, but I find its presence soothing. Then, the gray fades, and I see nothing but darkness. I become aware of my body again, and it hurts, every cell feeling agony. I fear to move and make it worse, but I am a stubborn old orc. I decide to start small. I try twitching the index finger on my left hand. It responds. I try my arm next, lifting it up to remove the softness from over my eyes. Slowly, I open my eyes. I'm not certain how long I've been asleep. At first, my vision flares. Then, a blurry face appears. My vision clears, and Jenna's smiling face greets me. Indira, you came back to me. She turns and cups her hand to her mouth. He's awake. I try to speak, but my throat aches terribly, and only a rasp comes out. Don't try to talk. The poison paralyzed your body, and your voice will be one of the last things to return. I see movement and turn my head toward the door. It suddenly strikes me that I'm back at the war god's stronghold. If I could speak yet, I would ask how I got here. For a moment I thought that somehow Jenna had come to the old Georgia border. Shaman Deskar enters the room, followed by several human doctors, and he steps up to me and stares me in the eye. He nods as if pleased. He has awakened sooner than I would have imagined. He's very strong indeed. I try to rise from the bed, but Jenna's hand lands on my shoulder. The fact she is able to so easily hold me down with one arm proves how weakened my body has become from the poison. Do not try to rise, noble Indira. The shaman shakes his bone staff at me and mutters a few words of power, his eyes rolling back into his head. They open again and he says a few more words, then sprinkles a bit of salt in the air. He turns to Jenna as if I am not even there. I predict he will be bedridden for at least a month yet, perhaps even as long as 3 months. 3 months? Outrageous. Again, I try to rise to prove I'm more recovered than they think. Again, I cannot even fight off Jenna's single hand on my shoulder. One of the human doctors comes up with a metal device and pinches a bit of my skin. The furrowed green mound takes a moment to recede. This man is severely dehydrated. Get him some water, Stat. Jenna turns and pours water from a clay pitcher into a wooden cup. She holds it up to my lips, but I shake my head slowly. Indira, relax. I'm going to take care of you until you're better, okay? I don't know if I can tolerate being fed and watered like an infant. It seems I have little choice, however. I can't even speak. Indira, do not be prideful. Accept the human's help. Deskar gestures to Jenna, the beads on his beard rattling against each other. You have already proven your toughness 100 times over merely by surviving the dark elf poison. It was an exotic type no one had seen before, the doctor says. A cocktail of different venoms intended to destroy your body on several different levels. Frankly, I can't believe you survived the trip from the Georgia borderline. Jenna again offers me the water. I turn my head away from her. I intended to get as far away from her as possible, so that the feelings I have for her have no soil to blossom. She sniffles, tears running down her face. It pains me to see her cry, but what more can I do? I wanted to avoid her. Now she's going to be with me constantly, a permanent fixture to my sickbed. Now she's going to take care of me, and I can't move to escape her. I must pretend she is not here. It is the only way. I must ignore her. There is nothing to do but push her away, no matter how much it hurts the both of us. I would rather die than cause her pain, and yet I cannot allow myself to dishonor my dead wife's memory by falling in love with Jenna. Can it be that I am destined to suffer from this unquenchable love? I can't say my feelings out loud. That would only draw her near to me, and I don't deserve her. I don't deserve to be happy. Besides, I already failed to protect one wife from death. What makes me think I deserve a second chance to fail? I can never tell her how I feel. Never. It is all too easy to let myself care for her. I feel like I am on a grease chute flying toward a bottomless pit. I have to stop myself somehow. I have to push her away from me before the last wall around my heart crumbles into dust. Chapter 16. Idra. I sit up in my bed, trying to keep the agony and effort it costs me off of my face. I'm pleased to see the scarred visage of Chief Harrock enter my bedchamber. Something I never thought would be a relief, to be honest. My chief! My voice sounds so pathetic, so weak. It's as if I am a bag-throated frog croaking to attract a mate to my scratchy lily pad instead of an orc commander. Idra, you're looking stronger every day. Indeed. I try to grin, but I'm sure it looks strained. In fact, I believe that I no longer need a caregiver in my home. The chief's gaze holds something I cannot identify. Is he amused by me for some reason? I'm pleased to hear you say that, Idra. He gestures toward the clay pitcher of water on a table not far from my bed. But you understand I need to make sure you aren't a danger to yourself. All you have to do is walk over to that pitcher and get yourself a drink. Of course I can do that. I swing my legs over the bed, or try to. One leg makes its way out over the edge, but the other gets mired in blankets. After a few moments of embarrassing floundering, I give up the effort and sit back in bed. I'm not thirsty at the moment. Chief Harrock shakes his head. You are too wise to be so stubborn, Idra. Surely you know that you are not yet ready to care for your own needs. I want to argue, but I can't. Fine then, I say stiffly. Then you must get me a different caregiver. Jenna is unacceptable. Unacceptable? Has she been derelict in her duties? His eyebrows climb high on his face. Shall I have her beaten? Perhaps spend a night in the holding cells? No. My voice rises to its original power. My heart thuds in my chest. No, she has done an outstanding job, exemplary in every respect. He spreads his hands out and frowns. Then what is the problem? Why must I find you someone else? I cannot think of anything. As usual, when the subject is Jenna, my thoughts pile upon each other like stones tumbled down a hill. She's too pretty. Too pretty? Chief Harrock indulges in a smile, twisted by his scar. I think that you are grasping at tubes, my old friend. The human phrase you attempted is known as grasping at straws, my chief. And I have good reasons to want someone else. Then please, tell me. I open my mouth, close it, and then turn away from him. It is a matter I would prefer not to discuss. I see. Chief Harrock's tone seems to indicate he knows the reason, and does not care. It's a pity, then, that there simply is no one else available to take care of you. My chief, you cannot be serious. There are hundreds of humans here. Why must it be this one? It's a busy time here at the keep. We must prepare for the inevitable clash with the Dark Elves. He shrugs. I do believe he is enjoying himself. How rude. I know he's lying through his damn teeth. I'm afraid I can't spare anyone else. Sorry, old friend. I suppose you'll just have to make the best out of the situation. He turns and heads for the door. "My chief!" I call out, but he vanishes into the hallway. "My chief!" Gone. My pleas fall on deaf ears, it seems. I'm back in my own home, and Jenna has moved in, sleeping in the guest room down the hall. The last week has been fraught with many indignities. I cannot walk to the water closet without assistance, and cannot stand to piss on my own. Fortunately, there are Orc soldiers who can assist me with that. Ray is staying with Geneva until I recover, so Jenna may concentrate all of her attention on me. The boy comes to visit now and again. I can tell he's worried about me. It would touch my heart had I not built this impenetrable adamantine wall around it. Jenna enters then, bearing a bowl of steaming food. I look up with interest until I see what it is. "Oat stew? Again?" My nose wrinkles in disgust. "Indira, you know that the doctor says that you can't eat anything but oat stew for a bit longer. Just bear with it." Her calmness infuriates me. I've turned myself into a holy terror these last 7 days. I've insulted almost every aspect of her character, berated her for the most minor of issues, and been a total jerk. I've thrown my medicine across the floor, and she just calmly gets me another dose. I've done everything I can think of to drive her off. Everything. And still, she remains. Why has she not flown to Harak and begged him for a different work assignment? What is wrong with her? I even cruelly asked her what she really wants of me, knowing it would torment her. None of it has been effective. I will not eat this mush. I would rather starve. I cross my arms over my chest and look away from her, out the window where I long to be. If I could turn myself into a bird, I might fly away from her, fly away from these feelings before they become too big of an anchor. Come on, Indira, it's not that bad. I sweetened it up with molasses and honey and a heavy dollop of whipped butter. It's really quite good. She spoons out a bit for me and holds it toward my face. "Get that away from me, human wench!" I mean to simply push her hand away. However, my limbs have not yet fully relearned their function. Instead of a gentle push with my hand, my entire arm spasms out heavily, clumsily, and spills the oat stew all over her. Instantly, I feel a stab of regret, but I desperately try not to show how sorry I am. "Serves you right," I growl petulantly. "Oh well, that's why I have the apron." She takes the apron off, wipes a bit of oat stew from her arm, and then sits it carefully on a chair so its moist contents won't spill. "Oh, Indira, you've got it all over yourself, too." She sees and picks up a rag. "What am I going to do with you?" "Stop," I say, trying to draw back. I don't want her to touch me. My limbs have not recovered enough to function, and yet my damn manhood has made a full recovery. It springs to life every time she gets too near. Don't be ridiculous, honestly. I have an easier time with Ray, and he's 3. I can't hide my feelings when she's this close. It's like she's inside my walls. I try to scoot away from her, throwing one leg off the bed. Unfortunately, it's the leg already tangled in the blankets. 2 things happen. 1, the blanket slides away from my body, exposing my naked shame and throbbing pleasure to her gaze. 2, Jenna loses her balance and falls across my torso, putting her face mere inches from my crotch. A bead of moisture slides down my member, and I watch her gaze follow. If the ancestors have any mercy, they will kill me now.
Chapter 17. Jenna. I stare at the hard manhood in front of me. Well, this just happened. I hadn't expected to fall over him like that. "What are you staring at, you harlot? You shameful, disgraceful, perverse human! Get away from me!" He shoves me off of him and gathers the blanket back over himself. I sigh, feeling another stab in my heart. It's obvious he doesn't want me around anymore, as plain as the nose on his face. The thing is, I can't figure out why for the life of me he wants to get rid of me so badly. I had thought we had built a friendship. Or at least, we were on the road toward friendship. Maybe even something more. He walked me to my quarters. It seemed like he really didn't want to leave. Then I'd invited him on a picnic and he'd completely shut down. He was terrified, Terrified of what? Does he think I'm that ugly? What happened to our friendship? I don't know what happened to him while he was hunting the dark elves. I don't know what he might be going through, dealing with the death of his family. I do know that I'm not giving up on him. I remind myself he's been through considerable trauma in his life, and much of it recent. Just losing a spouse would be enough to break most men. But a spouse and a young child, his entire family lost in the blink of an eye. And now he has to deal with a body that's too slowly on the mend for his liking. He would rather be running a spear through dark elf entrails, I'm sure, but even he must see he's got a long way to go. No, I'm not giving up on him. I don't know why he's doing this to me, being so awful, trying to drive me away. He must have a reason, some inexplicable reason. Maybe men are the same whether they come from Earth or Prathika. I just can't reconcile this bitter, nasty, dismissive brute with the gentle, sweet soul who saved me and Ray from the wolf pack, who cradled Ray against his chest as the kid fell asleep, who walked me home just because he wanted to spend more time in my company. He's like a different person. Maybe I would think about giving up, but I can't help but feel that his attitude is some kind of put on. From time to time, when he thinks I'm not looking or lets his guard down, I see a glimmer of the old Indira, like when he knocked the oat porridge on me. For a moment, regret and sorrow flashed through his eyes. I won't give up on Indira, because I'm in love with him. It's the most effortless love I've ever known. As much as I love Ray, it took some doing to get over how he came into my care. The deaths of my best friend and her husband were hard to bear. With Indira, it's as easy as breathing. I want to be with him desperately, but right now, thinking about how good his manhood looked, I just want him. Why are you standing there like a fawn swollen doe chewing its cud? His voice seems to have gotten stronger. There's something to be said for adrenal shock. Get out! Get out now! I command you to leave. I swear I will squish your head like a ripe melon. I stare at the tented portion of his blanket. That manhood is still going strong. What a monster it is. His masculine scent permeates the air. It mingles with my own feminine arousal. I wonder if he notices. His nostrils flare and his eyes grow slightly wider. He notices. Ah, I see now. I know why you have not left. Why you continue to stay, despite my treating you like dirt. His face twists into a monstrous sneer, as if he's willing every ounce of contempt he's ever had into a single expression. Again, I feel like it might be a put-on. You stare at it so much. Do you want it? He gets a look of triumph in his eyes, as if to say, there, now you have no choice but to leave. I have besmirched your human female honour. Indira thinks this will scare me away. Only I look him in the eyes and sigh. I'm so tired of hiding the way I feel. At this moment, I don't think I have the gumption to do it any longer. Yes, I say, eagerly, breathlessly. A great tension leaves my body. Oh, how long I have waited to speak my feelings out loud. It's as if 1,000 songbirds were freed from a cage in my soul. Yes, I want it. His eyes widen. I've called his bluff, poor Indira. He thought he was dealing with some demure human woman. He thinks that because I've been deferring to him, that I'm something I'm not. Phyllis and Geneva like to call me the firecracker. There's a good reason for this. Indira. I walk around to the base of the bed, my hips swinging sensuously. I look at him with half-lidded eyes, licking my lips. My Indira. What are you doing? He sputters, as I begin to crawl onto the bed. I'm well aware that the deep U-shaped neck in my blouse, useful in the hot kitchen, is hanging wide open, letting him see my dangling bosom. Indira, can I taste it? I blink at him prettily and pout my lips. Please? He lays there, arms splayed out behind him, half risen from the bed. His muscled chest rises and falls, glistened with a sheen of sweat. I do not think I've ever seen an orc more terrified. Only, I don't think he's scared of me or what I want in the least. I think he's scared because he wants it so badly too.
Sorry for the interruption. I know you were gearing up for a steamy scene, but it's way too hot for this platform.
If we want to keep sharing our stories for free, we have to abide by this platform's guidelines.
To get the full unabridged audiobook, go to worldsofprotheka.com.
Browse through unabridged audiobooks, countless ebooks and bundles offered at a discount.
If the thought of me whispering all the dirty details into your ear isn't enticing enough, use discount code YouTube30 to get 30% off of all digital products.
Story after story, audiobook after audiobook, the worlds of Protheka are waiting for you.
Protheka's magic is eternal.
But unabridged, it's unforgettable.
Chapter 18. Idra. I throw back my head and let out a howl as I explode inside Jenna's mouth. She pulls away, her eyes staring up at me. My juices trails from her lips to her chin. The sight of her, covered in my seed, shatters any remaining inhibitions I might have had. I give myself over to how badly I want her, how badly I need her. My body seems to function just fine when it really wants something. My hands dart out and latch onto her biceps, my fingers squeezing into her pliant flesh. Our eyes meet again. My arms tremble, but not from weakness. No, this shaking is born from my heart. I've never wanted anyone as badly as I want her at this moment. I know I should feel guilty about that, as a dishonor to my wife, but at this moment I simply cannot. She relaxes in my grip. Her red lips do not speak, but her eyes say volumes. They are begging me to take her. I don't know if I can hold out any longer. I know that I do not want to. I pull her toward me firmly. She winds up sitting in my lap. Our eyes meet again, and we spend a long moment staring at each other. It's as if we're basking in this closeness we share, the thing which I've wanted so long, and she seems to have as well. My desire for her hammers at my head like a war mallet. All I can think of is how much I want this woman, how much I need her. As much as Samara and I want to finish what these two characters have started, it looks like this chapter is about to get too hot for this platform to handle.
Unfortunately, we have to pause here because their guidelines won't allow us to reveal the spiciest details.
To keep bringing you these free audiobooks, we have to follow their rules.
But don't worry. You can experience the full, unabridged version over at worldsofprotheka.com, where the boundaries of passion and fantasy collide.
Use code YouTube30 for 30% off any of our unabridged audiobooks set in the rich and immersive worlds of Protheka.
Protheka's magic is eternal.
With these scenes, it will be unforgettable. I hang my head, tears of frustration and denied desires pouring down my cheeks. Shameful for a warrior. A warrior only cries, tears of victory over the carnage he has wrought. Idra. Her hands are gentle on my face. She pulls me into her bosom. I rest my head there on the sublime softness while she strokes her fingers through my hair. Tell me why you think you don't deserve me. I know you have heard of my family. No doubt Geneva told you that I lost my wife and child. She nods, still stroking my hair. I raise my head up so I can look her in the eyes. She told me, yes. She also told me that you blamed yourself for their deaths. Yes, it was my fault. I left them in the care of an orc I thought I could trust. He murdered them all to throw me off my guard for an assassination attempt. Oh my God, she caresses my face. You poor thing, that's just awful. I killed him, of course. Usually vengeance tastes as sweet to me as honey. Only that night, I only felt emptiness. I'm glad I killed him, because it will let my family rest in peace. But I did not enjoy the act. I still feel no pleasure in having slaughtered him. Why do you blame yourself? It sounds like the orc who betrayed you is to blame, not you. Because that was only the culmination of my sin. The ultimate end of my many failures as a husband and father. I heave a long sigh. Jenna, I was not always a simple farmer. Once I was an orc of great influence and power. As one of the elders, I influenced the direction our tribe took moving forward. I was good at it. Maybe a little too good. How can you be too good at your job? I sacrificed time with my family in lieu of being an elder. It took its toll. I spent less and less time and sent the traitorous orc into her very lap. I stare out the window, unable to meet her gaze when I explain my ultimate schism. My son had fallen and injured his leg. It needed suturing, and she sent a messenger for me to come home and assist. Instead, You sent the traitor. I nod. Why did he betray you anyway? Many years prior, when he was a young, fresh, eager orc commander, he made a grave blunder. He sent our mounted archers into a crevasse, thinking to surprise the enemy. Only their bows were too weak to reach the top of the chasm they hid within. The enemy's mobile infantry marched into the crevasse and killed them to a man. I shake my head sadly. I was on the Council of Elders, and I voted for him to be stripped of his command and given a small skull-shaped brand on his back for each man who died. My laugh is bitter and ironic. He seemed to take his punishment with good grace, humility. He truly seemed to regret that he had led those men to their slaughter. He looked me in the eyes and said he was sorry each time the hot iron touched his flesh. But he held on to the grudge, nursed it, let it fester in his heart. She squeezes my hand. And he took his revenge, or tried to. She doesn't speak. I let her go. You should leave me. I am no good to you, or anyone else. I'm just a miserable old orc who failed to protect his family.
Chapter 19. Jenna. I see the look in his eyes. If I try to push myself on him right now, he'll only refuse me again. Now is not the time to say anything. As much as I hate to do it, I bite my lip and move away from him. I walk out the door and into the sunlight, mulling over how deep and profound his pain truly is. Idra is a deep thinker for an orc, philosophical even. One of the few things I agree with Harold on is that philosophy causes more problems than it solves. Idra's deep grief and pain, his intense guilt over the death of his family, doesn't make me love him any less. If anything, I love him all the more for it. He is a man who staggers beneath the weight of his past, piled upon his great shoulders. Like Atlas, he bears the weight of the world without complaint. But I can see the anguish in his gaze, feel how much he blames himself in every word he speaks. Still, despite all of the burdens life has foisted upon him, there's no one more courageous. His deep sense of responsibility is both a boon and curse to him. It's one of his best qualities, and yet it is also an anchor that drags him down, drowning him in his past. I walk to the garden behind his home. Since he became a commander again, he's taken up residence in the stronghold, and brought along his garden with him. The rabbits perk up at the sight of me. They associate me with Ray, who they have come to love, if rabbits are capable of such things. Sorry, guys, I murmur. He's not off school yet. I look at his garden, his home, and realise that this place must harbour a lot of memories for him. No wonder he chose to live out in the woods, away from all of those memories. I don't want to replace his wife. I really don't. I just want to make him happy again. I look up at the sky, because that's where they say the dead go when they die. I don't know about orcs. Maybe they go somewhere else, but I feel like I have to get this off my chest. Listen, I say, speaking to his deceased wife's spirit. I just want to make him happy. I know that he loved you very much, and I know you must have loved him very much as well. How could you not? He's amazing. I laugh softly to myself. Maybe her spirit can hear me. I know that since you loved him, you wouldn't want him to stay in the darkness cast by his own guilt, would you? You don't want him to blame himself any more than I do. No, I don't. For a moment, my heart ceased to beat in my chest. I think that I've just heard a ghost. Then, I realise I recognise the voice. I turn around to see Geneva. Ray rushes from behind her and dashes to the rabbits, shrieking with childlike joy. Lady Geneva, I say, relieved that she's not one of the undead. For heaven's sake, Jenna, don't call me lady. I'm just Geneva, and that's fine with me. Just Geneva. Yeah, right. She's practically Mother Teresa as far as I'm concerned. I read about her in a book for you smarmy nerds who wonder how I could know about her after an apocalypse. Ray whoops and hollers as he runs back to me, clinging to my legs. Enna, can I see Uncle Indy? Ray, I don't know if that's a good idea. He rushes off into the house. Ray, stop. I sigh as he vanishes through the door. What's wrong, Jenna? Geneva frowns and puts her hand on my shoulder. You seem depressed. I heave a long sigh and then look her in the eye. Geneva, this is very hard for me to admit. I swallow the lump in my throat and look her dead in the eyes. I'm in love with Indira. Geneva blinks a couple of times, her face studiously blank. Then her expression twists into a comical look of exasperation. No, really? You don't say? Perhaps you will next tell me that the sky is blue, or that these dragon lilies really need trimming. I laugh along with her and sigh helplessly. Am I really that obvious? Only to me, and Harrock, and Phyllis. She looks at the sky as if trying to concentrate. And the other cooks, the women at the daycare. Why don't you save me some time and tell me that everyone knows? I do believe there are 2 Orc scouts on the western wall who have no idea. She cocks an eyebrow. So, have you told him how you feel? Not exactly, not while he was awake. I look down at a red rose and trace my finger over its soft petals. He did open up to me today, though. He told me about his family for the first time. Her mouth forms an O. That's incredible. To my knowledge, he's never talked to anyone about it since it happened. Ever. Not even the chief. He spoke to me, but only to tell me that he doesn't deserve me. He thinks that, I don't know, he's dishonouring his wife or something. I just don't know how to breach these walls he's put up around his heart. I don't think you need to breach his walls at all. She winks at me. I think that he's built a postern gate with a Jenna-shaped hole in it, and one for Ray as well, most likely. I don't understand. He just rebuffed me, told me to leave. Why would you think that? Jenna, she sighs. I've known Indira for some time now. I've become his friend too, and there is not a truer one of those you can find than him. I know him, probably better than he knows himself. I believe that. She's got a lot of natural empathy. And I believe, she continues, that he loves you as much as you love him. Then why does he keep pushing me away? Fear and guilt, my dear. Simple and dryly cut. His guilt and fear have made him skittish as a butterfly. She takes my hand and squeezes it. But you must not give up. I stand up a bit straighter. Give up? I laugh. I don't even know what that means. It's not in my vocabulary. I'm the woman who escaped from her abuser a total of 7 times. I'm glad that the 7th was the last time. She grins. And I'm glad to see that you're returning to your old self. Now go get him, Firecracker. I grin ear to ear. I'll do that. I won't give up, no matter how stubborn he thinks he is. I'll show him the meaning of the word stubborn. Not only is that in my vocabulary, there's a picture of me next to it in the dictionary. I'm going to fight to the end until he's mine. She laughs. He doesn't stand a chance at all, does he? No, I say. He doesn't. Then I hug this dear, sweet woman tightly. If I ever had a sister, I would want her to be just like Geneva.
Chapter 20. Indira. Last night, I finally opened up to Jenna. I finally told her about my great shame and how I caused the deaths of my wife and child. What prompted my admission still seems surreal as I awaken the next day. Our bodies hungered for each other, as did our hearts and souls. Then I brought it all to a screeching halt. Jenna had broken down, losing her composure as she demanded to know why I wouldn't do what we both wanted. That's when I told her the truth at last. The humans say that the truth sets you free. I'm not certain that applies in my case. I sit up weakly in my bed. Sunlight splashes across my face as I line up with the open window. The flowers Jenna set there look a bit wilted. Normally she waters them, but I told her to leave, didn't I? And it looks like I got my wish. I had seen Ray last night after telling her to go, but not Jenna. Jenna? I say, trying to pitch my voice just loud enough that it can only be heard inside the house, and not by the orcs stationed outside my front door. Nothing but silence. I rise from the bed, struggling to keep myself steady. I reach for the clay pitcher and find it nearly empty. I sacrifice the last trickle of water to the potted golden-orange flowers. Marigolds, Jenna calls them. They keep away mosquitoes and are quite pretty. What have I done? I sent Jenna away. I told her to go. I cannot be angry with her for doing exactly as I bade her do. Why do I feel so sad? Such profound disappointment. I wanted this. I fought for it. Harder than I have fought the most vicious dark elf. Harder than I fought for my own life. I don't fear death. I fear being happy with Jenna because I feel I don't deserve it. I managed to stumble to the water closet on my own and even down to the kitchen. I find a crusty loaf of rye and a creamy concoction Jenna calls dill dip. It has goat's milk in it and some type of sour, spicy green bits. I devour the loaf whole and find that my simple exertions have left me feeling weak. I get back to the bed just as I'm about to collapse. I crawl back under the covers and wallow in my misery. I can't be with Jenna, but I want to so badly. I won't dishonor you, my love, I whisper, hoping Magda's spirit can hear me. I won't. Usually, when I speak to my wife's spirit in this way, I feel a lifting of the burdens, ever so slightly. Now, however, I feel nothing. Perhaps I sense disapproval? I get lost in the twisted avenues of my own mind, bouncing between an aching longing for Jenna and intense guilt and sorrow over the family I lost. The two feelings seem to feed off each other, locked in step like dancers whirling ever closer to oblivion. I'm not sure how long I sit on the blankets, spinning in my own head. I hear the sound of the front door opening, and then Jenna comes in. I know it is her by her tread, and the soft sigh she always makes when she gets out of the hot sun. Her footsteps make me cringe. I'm still stuck between yearning for her return and thinking it's for the best that she does not. Jenna comes into the room, her usual placid smile in place. Her blue-green eyes seem glad to see me, even after last night. My heart breaks as I realize that I have failed yet again to convince her that I am not worthy of her company or her love. "Hello," she says, setting a basket of food from the kitchen on the table. "Sorry I'm late. Geneva's not feeling well this morning. The shamans and the doctors agree she will give birth any day now." She seems so happy. Why? Why is she acting as if we did not have the talk last night? I can't discern her thoughts beyond the limpid pools of her sea-green eyes. I only know she seems happy for some reason. "Why did you come back?" My voice had returned yesterday, but now I find it is reduced to a weakened croak again. "Why did you return after I told you about my failure to protect my family? I am a broken orc, Jenna. I do not deserve happiness." Jenna meets my gaze for a long moment, inscrutable still. She walks over to the bed and sinks onto the mattress. She holds my eyes with a steadfast gaze as she speaks. "It's not your fault you were broken. It's that bastard elder who was to blame. That orc is the devil himself. The world is a better place without him in it. How can it not be my fault that I am broken?" I spread my hands out. My name was once a legend in this tribe. I killed 11 dark elves in one skirmish. They all died kicking on the end of my spear, or their heads split in half by my axe. I'm on the verge of raging now. Not at her, but at the traitor Breakstone and the fate which brought him into my life, and at myself for not protecting my family. I was strong. I was feared, and now look at me. Too weak to button a button, let alone hold a sword or an axe. defiled by dark elf poison, weighted on hand and foot by a woman who deserves so much better. I swallow hard, losing myself in the beauty of her soul. Who deserves everything. Her eyes grow glassy and she quickly wipes them on her sleeve. Then a smile spreads over her face. So let me ask you something, Indira. If you had a block of limestone and carried it to the top of this building and dropped it, would you think the limestone was to blame for breaking? My brow furrows as I ponder her metaphysical question. I don't understand the point of... of course I would not blame the limestone. I am the one who carried it to the top of the roof and dropped it off. It would be madness to think the limestone was to blame for its own fracture. My voice drifts off, and her smile grows more beautiful. Now you're getting it. Would you be angry at that block of limestone? No, I would not. That too would be madness. Then who are you really mad at? Breakstone! I bellow, tears streaming down my cheeks. Breakstone, how could you do this to me? How could you take my family away from me? I hope you burn in the fires of eternal torment and never get to see the ancestors. I'm glad your blood fell on bare stone and nourished no life. I'm winding down now. My shoulders deflate, and I find myself no longer able to speak. I look up at her, sheepishly wondering why she has not yet had the good sense to flee my presence. I don't think anyone can fix me, I say at length. I don't want to fix you, Indira. I accept you for who you are. Her eyes sparkle and shine. I love you for who you are. My heart skips a beat. What? I managed to croak out, barely able to believe my own ears. I said I accept you completely, wholeheartedly. Broken or not, scars and all. I know you still want to make it hard for me, but I'll keep doing it no matter what, because I love you. She licks her lips and moves a bit closer. I love you.
This huge orc brings out the animal in me.
In a world where humans have been driven underground, living like rats is the only way to stay safe from the marauding orcs.
All my life, my only job has been to make sure I have enough to eat.
These orcs of the Burning Sun clan will vow to keep their human mates safe.
There is a nobleness to these giant savages. Alpha male warriors who will protect their women at all costs.
Get this complete series of books following the Burning Sun clan for 70% off. Each book is a full-length monster romance that features a giant orc with eyes for his beloved, curvy human. Happily ever after guaranteed.
Prothika's magic is eternal.
This bundle will show you that size really does matter.
Chapter 21. Jenna. Indira's jaw falls open, his eyes wider than dinner plates. He just sits there, speechless as I continue to smile at him. I think he's in shock. If he can't comprehend it, I'll just have to keep saying it over and over again until he understands it's true. I love you, Indira. He shakes his head as if he wants to deny it. I smile and say it again. I love you so much, I don't care if you're broken. His eyes grow redder, and I can see how tense he holds himself, taut as the surface of a still pond. You don't have to say it back. I don't care if you love me or not. It doesn't change how I feel. The tears begin to trickle down my cheeks, but I smile through them. You have no idea what you've done for me, do you? The wonderful gift you've given to me. Indira, you gave me my life back. I'm willing to spend the rest of my life with you, if that's what you want. I laugh softly. You know, Harold always said I was a dreamer, someone who couldn't see past her own limitations. But I think you've got the exact opposite problem, Indira. Your grief has imprisoned that part of your soul that needs to dream. Let it free. His mouth opens, and I put my finger on his lips. Shh. A sweet smile graces my lips as I reach out and touch his lined face. You don't have to say anything, sweet Indira. Noble Indira. My Indira. I take the initiative. I move my face in toward his own. His hot breath rushes over my skin. I can almost taste his desire. Our lips meet, tender and soft. This is it, the moment of truth. Is he going to kiss me back, or cut me off again? Have I successfully plead my case to you, Indira? His hand slips up to my cheek and he kisses me back. I let out a happy whimper like a lovelorn puppy wagging its tail. Our lips smack together as we explore each other. It's surreal how good this feels. Maybe being a dreamer isn't such a bad thing after all. He pulls me into him, kissing me harder. Indira lets out soft grunts as he continues to ravish my mouth. I melt into him, so glad that he's finally letting himself feel. I'm almost happier for him than I am for me. But not quite.
This scene is about to get too steamy for this platform's comfort. And as much as we'd love to keep going, their guidelines say we need to stop here.
To continue releasing these free audiobooks on this platform, we've got to play by the rules.
The passion doesn't end here.
Visit worldsofprathika.com to hear the full, uncut version of this fantasy romance, and every daring moment that YouTube can't handle.
Use code YouTube30 for 30% off unabridged audiobooks in the worlds of Prothika.
Don't let YouTube hold you back. Immerse yourself in a world of magic, danger, and unfiltered passion.
Prothika's magic is eternal.
Listen unabridged and you'll never want to go back. Ignore it, he says. Probably a drill. Okay. He doesn't have to tell me twice. I throw my head back as he goes back to mauling my neck. I'm going to have marks, but I don't mind. I can wear a collared blouse if I have to around Ray. Commander Indira! The door bursts open and a young orc guard rushes in. I'm utterly terrified. I think I turn a shade of purple hitherto unknown to man. The thing is, though, I'm not half as embarrassed as the poor orc guard. He covers his eyes with his hands and bellows out the message he had intended to deliver. Chief Harrock bids you evacuate to the hidden warrens. Enemies are within the stronghold. My breath catches in my throat, and I exchange worried glances with Indira. What's happening now?
Chapter 22. Indira. Jenna and I make ourselves decent, and then proceed out into the hallway. 2 orc soldiers are there, ready to help bear my weight along. I put my arm over each of their shoulders, and they bear me along. I feel so useless right now. All over the keep, I can hear the shouts of alarm, the constant pounding of war drums, the various trumpeters signaling companies to muster. Do either of you know what is going on? I ask. No, Commander Indira, gasps the one on my left. Not exactly. I only know that there are assassins in the keep, and enemies mustered outside the gates. Assassins. My blood runs cold. It almost has to be the Dark Elves, doesn't it? Oh no. Jenna sounds so frightened, it breaks my heart. If only I weren't so weak. I could grab my axe and help defend her. Instead, I have to be carried along like a weak and mewling kitten. We have to get to Ray, she says. Of course. We will get him from the nursery and then we will continue on to the hidden bunker. I try to sound confident, but it's difficult. No one knows better than me how dangerous dark elf assassins can be. My limbs still have not recovered from their weakening poisons. We join a group of other non-combatants flowing toward the hidden bunkers and any safety which they might provide. Everyone looks scared, but I'm pleased to see that humans and orc alike are avoiding the folly of panic. They continue to move in an orderly fashion, just as they were drilled to do. As we go along the main avenue, a woman comes running up beside us. It's Phyllis, the friend of Jenna's, who also works in the kitchen. Oh my God, I'm glad the both of you are all right. She and Jenna briefly embrace and then hurry on. Do you know what's happening, Jenna? No, do you? I heard that a dark elf assassin made it all the way inside of Geneva and Harrock's bedchamber. My heart skips a beat. Tell me that they did not succeed, I gasp. They did not. Phyllis seems to be grimly satisfied about that. Geneva is still very weak, of course, after giving birth. Harrock was distracted, holding his infant son in his hand when the assassin made his move. They even tried to take the child. I shudder thinking of what ghastly things the Dark Elves might do to that poor child. Fortunately, Harrock was more alert than the assassin knew. He had heard the Dark Elf enter the chamber, set his son down, and picked up a stuffed bear toy instead. Harrock hid his knife behind the toy, and then ran the blade through the bear and the elf in one sudden thrust. Then perhaps the ancestors yet smile upon us this day, I say with conviction. How do the Dark Elves even know of such things? I growl. The birth is not quite a secret, but how would they know where to find the chief's private sanctum? Someone has betrayed our tribe. We catch up to the surging crowd as they come toward the nursery. Jenna cups her hands over her mouth and calls for Ray. She calls again and yet again, but the boy does not appear. I hate my weakness even more when her voice grows panicked. Ray! Ray! Where are you? Can you hear me? Ray. Damn it all to hell. I want to move on my own, but I can barely get my muscles to twitch. Apparently my organs and muscles were the most affected by the poison. I hear an orc rushing by, bellowing at the top of his lungs. Invaders at the gate! Invaders at the gate! Shortly after, we move to the side as a company of well-armed, heavily armored orcs quick marches past. They go to bolster the defenses. Are there Dark Elves outside the keep? My left supporter calls out to the soldiers. No, another orc tribe. My eyes go wide. It must be a coincidence, I mutter. No orc tribe would ever align themselves with the Dark Elves. It's madness. No one responds to my assertion except with grim silence. It seems quite unlikely that this is a coincidence. Dark Elves and orcs working together. It simply cannot be true. Ray! The relief in Jenna's voice is palpable. I follow her aquamarine gaze up the street. My heart breathes a sigh of relief at the sight of Ray running up the street toward us. I don't know where his teachers are, and fear the worst for them. Anna! Uncle Indy! He stops in the street and waves at us. We see you, boy, I bellow. Keep running. Do not stop. Jenna breaks away from our entourage and rushes toward the child. They are perhaps 100 feet apart when I see a black shadow dart toward them on an intercept path. It moves with the speed and liquid grace that can only be found in a dark elf. Jenna, look out! I shout, but I don't think she can hear me over the din of the keep under assault. Jenna runs toward Ray, her arms outstretched. Their faces are happy at the impending reunion. Neither of them can see death coming for them fast. Their eyes are only for each other. Jenna grows closer to Ray. She's within 3 steps of having him in her arms. Then the dark elf's boot disturbs a bit of rubbish which skitters across the stone. Jenna's gaze darts to the sides, and her eyes widen in horror. Her scream of terror pierces the air and ignites a fire throughout my entire body. No, not again. I'm going to watch those I love die again. This damned dark elf poison has left me too weak. At the sound of her scream, my body seems to take on a life of its own. Even as my mind laments the impending loss, my legs bunch up beneath me. My arms come out from the shoulders of the orcs, bearing me along, and fall to my sides. I lean forward and tear into a dead run. I do not know where this surge of strength has come from. Have the ancestors heard my silent prayers? Is it the adrenaline surge the human doctors try to use to define our mystical battle rage? I know not. I care not. All I know is that my body is suddenly working again. I will use it to build hard walls around the soft. I will not allow any harm to come to Jenna or Ray. They did not come so far, suffer so much, to be butchered by some damnable dark elf assassin. Not this day. My legs pump hard, eating up the terrain with long strides. I've never moved so fast in all of my days, not even when I was in my prime. Perhaps I'm not too old for this after all. I hear a ferocious howl born of rage and determination. Only when my throat begins to hurt do I realize I'm the one making it. The dark elf stops mid-swing, his poisoned blade drawn back to strike Jenna down. He turns just in time to see me barreling into him. Our bodies crash together, and the dark elf lets out a cry of pain and surprise. Jenna is safe. For now.
Chapter 23. Jenna, I am on the brink of death. They say your life flashes before your eyes before you die. But all I can see as the assassin moves in on me, his blade glistening black with deadly poison, is the future I will never have with Idra. We will never sit and drink tea by the fire like in my dream. We will never watch Ray grow up to have kids of his own. We will never make love in the night the way I yearn to. My life is over, but at least, in the end, Idra accepted me. I can die happy with that. At least there may be a chance that Ray can be saved if the assassin wastes all his time on me. I promise myself I will not die quickly. I will fight and kick and scream and even drown the assassin with my blood if I must. Then, a green and silver bullet shoots past me, crashing into the dark elf. The dark elf and a big burly orc tumble across the flagstones, like a whirling dervish. They crash into a potter's stand, rattling the abandoned shelves. I see in shock that it's Idra. How in the hell did he do that? He can barely move. Somehow, he willed himself into moving long enough to save me and Ray. Now, though the dark elf is about to recover, and I can tell Idra is still quite weak. Fortune smiles. One of the clay urns on the shelf, shaking bad since the impact, gives up the ghost and drops down. It crashes over the dark elf's head, stunning him for a moment. Idra uses the breathing room to gain his feet again. He pulls himself up using the nearby stone wall, fingers splayed in the rough mortar between thick slabs of rock. Idra keeps one hand on the wall to support himself, his chest heaving in long pants. Yet his eyes are defiant, and he curls his free hand into a deadly fist. The dark elf twists himself with impossible dexterity into a standing position. Twin daggers in his hands point toward the orc I love. "You should not get between me and my prey, orc," he says in a hauntingly melodious voice. "Now, I will flence the skin from you one skinny cut at a time until you be me to let you die." The humans have a saying, talk is cheap, actions speak louder than words. Idra uncurls his fingers and makes a come-hither gesture to the dark elf. "Come a little closer, and I'll show you what I mean." "Come a little closer," the dark elf sputters. "Look at you, you're half dead already." I grab Ray and hand him off to Phyllis, while the two combatants square off. I wish there was something I could do to help. "If I'm so weak, then why are you still way over there?" The dark elf sneers, his angelic but devilish features twisting in the sunlight. "I think that you are not worth my time. I think that if I run from here in search of other prey, that you will be unable to follow me." Idra grins ear to ear. Maybe I am too weak to stand, or maybe I'm just trying to make it more fair for you by only using one hand. Idra carefully pushes himself off the wall and takes a fighting stance. "Now come on, dark elf, and when you get to whatever torment you deserve in the afterlife, be certain to tell them that Idra is the one who sends you there." The dark elf grows angry. It seems Idra's barbs have struck home after all. The elf moves forward, deadly weapons at the ready. Despite Idra's bravado, he doesn't stand a chance, not in his condition. I can tell he struggles just to stand. I look over and realise I've moved up to where I'm next to the pottery stand. I don't even think about it. My fingers curl around the handle of a heavy clay pot, and I hurl it at the dark elf's back. The urn tumbles through the air and then strikes the dark elf on the back, shattering with a satisfying crack. The dark elf stumbles forward, his back arched. He turns his glare on me, but he's still wary of Idra too. "I'll skin you alive for that, human wench. Eat trash and die." I throw the next closest thing, an iron skillet. It flies low in the air because it's heavy. The dark elf dances out of the way, but I'm not stopping. I keep grabbing things and throwing them, my rage increasing with every hurl. The dark elf tries to close in on me, but a stone mortar and pestle set crack into his left wrist. He howls in pain and drops his poisoned dagger. Fortune smiles again when he bends down to pick it up, and happens to put his head right in line with a cake of lye soap. It's not heavy, but it smacks him dead in the eyes. He howls, eyes tearing up as he rubs his sleeve across them. Idra tries to attack the elf from behind, but he nearly topples. He grabs the wall again, barely able to support himself even with assistance. I continue to throw things at the dark elf. I'm running out of objects. I really hope that I don't have to pay the Potter back for his merchandise. The dark elf assassin ducks under one of my more errantly aimed missiles and sneers. "You're not the only one who can throw things, you round-eared brat." His hand darts out, fingers splayed toward me. A cluster of something dark flies my way. I yelp and use a cutting board I had been prepared to throw at him as a shield. 3 meaty thunks later, I look and see what has happened. 3 small metal star-shaped weapons stick into the wood, all of them coated with dark elf poison. That had been too close for comfort, but in the time it took me to defend myself, the dark elf has closed the distance. He leaps up onto the counter, knife drawn up for a killing blow. His nose is bent badly to the side by a heavy flagon I struck him with during my barrage. He's missing several teeth as well. "I wish I had the time to make you suffer the way that you truly deserve." He hisses through blood-stained teeth. "Now finally you are mine. Die." A stampede of boots causes him to turn toward the end of the street. I can't see what's happening from inside the booth. I can only see his eyes widen, his muscles bunch as he prepares to move. Right before an orc lancer charges up and shoves a spear through his side. The dark elf screams, hand dropping his dagger to clutch at the haft of the spear instead. Another orc charges up and shoves a spear into his other side. More orcs pile in, 5 in all, every one of them shoving their weapons into the dark elf's body. He would fall, but for their weapons holding him up. His eyes glaze over with the milky sheen of death. I run to Indira's side. He's still so terribly weak, but he still risked everything to save me. I can't stop crying as I hug him tight. Idra grabs my head and puts it on his chest. "Would you stop crying?" he says from his position on the ground. Ray joins us, and I hug him. Idra hugs Ray as well, and we're all hugging each other. My heart has never felt so much warmth and relief as in this moment, even if we aren't exactly out of danger yet. "I owe you my life twice over now." "No," he says. "It is you who has saved my life from the depths of the abyss." He kisses me, tender and sweet. Then he pulls back and cups my cheek. "I love you, Jenna."
Chapter 24. Idra. "In here," I say, staggering along with the assistance of only one orc. The other I have sent to join in the defense outside the walls. My strength is somewhat recovered, but there's no doubt in my mind that Jenna's actions saved me from death back there. Despite my bravado, I was in no condition to fight that elf, especially unarmed. I don't know where that surge of strength came from, the one that let me save her in the first place. I only know that I'm grateful she and Ray are still alive. We go beneath a stone arch which opens onto a seemingly dead-end alleyway. "We can't go through here," Jenna says in a panic, tightly clutching Ray to her chest. "The way is blocked." "It will be fine. Go, please. I will be right behind you." I can see the fear in Jenna's eyes. She knows that getting pinned in a dead-end alley would be akin to a death sentence should any dark elves or traitorous orcs come across us. However, there is more than fear. There is trust as well. "All right." She moves ahead of me. As we travel further into the alley and our eyes adjust, its secrets remain its own. That is, until we are but a step or two away from the end. "My God," Jenna gasps. "It actually isn't a dead end at all." "Yes, keep going, and please, be quiet. We need to keep this secret tunnel a secret." She moves around the partial wall, which has been cleverly painted to look as if it matches up with a slightly off-kilter wall beyond. The guardsman and I slip through a moment later. We all walk in darkness for a short while, our way lit by flickering torchlight from far ahead. Then, the sounds of a sonorous hum of conversation reaches our ears. We move into a large underground chamber, the basement of a supposedly derelict warehouse. There are hundreds of people milling about, unsure of their fates. We settle in and wait. It's infuriating that I can't help the defense, but at the least I know Jenna and Ray are safe. I sit with my back against the wall, with Jenna on one side and Ray on the other. I just hold them and hope that's enough. I hope so, as I can offer precious little more. After several hours of tense silence, the doors open and Chief Harrick himself strides inside. His armor is stained with blood, but his face is stretched with a triumphant smile. "We have slain the last dark elf assassin," he says. A general cheer raises up. He grins and waits for it to die down before speaking again. I turn and kiss Jenna and hold her close. "And," Harrick says, "the traitorous orc tribe who consorted with the dark elves are either dead or in chains. Tomorrow at dawn, their flesh will bubble and blister as they writhe helpless in vats of boiling oil. The traitors will pay for their crimes." The cheer goes up again, even louder than last time. I'm grateful that the city is safe. I only wish I could have done more to help. I struggle to my feet, glad for Jenna's assistance, and then hobble my way over to Chief Harrick. He turns to me and his mouth gapes open in shock. "I suppose that you just had to prove the shamans and doctors wrong, didn't you? Can't keep a good orc down." Harrick claps me on the shoulder, but he does so much more gently than he normally would. You can tell I'm not 100% yet, not by a long shot. "I'm walking at the least, my chief." "Walking?" Phyllis lets out a bark of laughter. "Chief Harrick, you should have seen him. He covered a dozen yards in not much more than a second, and hurled himself like a living weapon right into a dark elf." "And what happened to that dark elf?" "He's dead," Jenna says, coming up to my side. "I see. That's very good news indeed." King Harrick laughs heartily. "Really, Idra? Haven't you killed enough of the damned dark elves at this point in your life? Why don't you save some for the rest of us, you greedy bastard?" The chief is feeling the euphoria of triumph and battle. It's infectious, and I find myself grinning. "I'm sorry, my chief. They seem to want to die, the way they keep hurling themselves in my path. Perhaps if I tie one hand behind my back, the rest of you might catch up." "I'm gonna slip in all the excess testosterone," Phyllis mutters. Harrick looks between me and Jenna, and his eyes glimmer with understanding. He knows that the parameters of our relationship have changed. He could probably tell this even if Jenna were standing right next to me, her side pressed into me. The softness of her chest against my ribcage is one of the unspoken things between men and women. "Idra, I think that you should stay at Jenna's house to continue your recovery." "What?" I start, wondering what he's getting at. "Why? For one thing, it's in the center of the base, much better protected than your own home. And for another, I think it will be more convenient for all involved since Geneva will be too weak to watch Ray for a few weeks." "As you wish, my chief." Later, I sit on the terrace of her home. My axe lays across my lap. I was able to walk her under my own power, but I'm still weak. The poison has worked its way out of my system. Now I have to hope my body can bounce back fully. The sun hangs low in the sky, a fat red disk casting gentle light over the orc stronghold. It brings me little peace. I must remain ever vigilant. More foes might try to attack us. "What are you doing?" I start and turn about to find Jenna standing in the doorway to the terrace. My eyes widen because she wears only a tiny silken slip, leaving her long legs bare. "I am standing watch over your home." I lift the axe in one hand, though it takes considerably more effort than it used to. "What if the enemy should return?" "Oh, will you just go to sleep? The doctors and the shaman both told you to get plenty of rest, and you really exerted yourself today." "I can't sleep, not knowing there could be more of them out there, wishing to harm you and Ray." She comes up to my side and rests her hand on my shoulder. Her touch is light, but I start. Goosebumps rise on my skin, as she gently caresses my arm. "Indira," she says in a breathy whisper, "I want to sleep with you." My breath catches in my throat. "What do you mean, Jenna?" She gets up on her tiptoes and kisses me. "Love me, Indira." I take her in my arms, holding her wonderfully curved body against my own. The fire ignites in my veins. My heart pounds in my chest, and I feel more alive than I did on any battlefield. I bend my head down and take her lips. They still taste as sweet as I remember. My hand slides down to the small of her back. I pull her into me more tightly. She moans softly into my mouth, her palms planted on my chest. "Love me, Indira!" She gasps again as we come up for air. I lift her into my arms, cradling her against me like precious cargo. I kiss her one more time in the fading sunlight before carrying her to the bedroom.
Chapter 25. Jenna. I can't believe it's finally happening. No more distractions. No more yearning. Indira is finally taking me to bed with him. The platinum-haired orc bears me along easily. I cuddle up against his massive chest. My fingers trace over its chiselled perfection. Indira pauses in the threshold to our bedroom, long enough to kiss me. I throw my arms around his neck and give as good as I get. A deep moan escapes my throat. His hand on my shoulder moves over to grope my bosom roughly through my thin night shift. He turns me sideways and sidles into the room. The air is filled with incense, something Geneva gave me to set the mood. She swears it always gets Kavok's motor running and that she got the recipe from one of the shamans. To me, it smells like a mix of marijuana and lavender. I don't know if he notices or not. His eyes are locked on my own. He carries me to the bed and throws me onto it. I bounced higher than I expect from the rough toss. I stabilise myself, splaying my limbs out and staring up at him with my mouth wide open. He's so strong, insanely strong. Remember, he ripped that wolf in half. What if he loses control in the throes of passion? I'm a little scared, but I'm excited and happy too. I've been looking forward to our first time for so long. I swear to any gods that are listening that if the dark elves attack now, I'll kill them all myself. Just give me a pottery store and someone to keep putting them in my hands.
Sorry for the interruption. I know you were gearing up for a steamy scene, but it's way too hot for this platform.
If we want to keep sharing our stories for free, we have to abide by this platform's guidelines.
To get the full unabridged audiobook, go to worldsofprothika.com.
Browse through unabridged audiobooks, countless ebooks and bundles offered at a discount.
If the thought of me whispering all the dirty details into your ear isn't enticing enough, use discount code YouTube30 to get 30% off of all digital products.
Story after story, audiobook after audiobook, the worlds of Prothika are waiting for you.
Prothika's magic is eternal.
But unabridged, it's unforgettable.
Chapter 26. Indira. I lose track of the hours as I make love to Jenna. Our bodies strain together long into the night. Eventually, even our passion cannot sustain us after the incredibly arduous days we have had. I fall asleep with her in my arms. Something is different. I do not know what, but different. Different good, though. Definitely a good difference. She snuggles up next to me, sighing softly. I love you, my sexy beast. Her cheek rests on my chest and then she falls into a restful slumber. I stroke her silk-soft hair and then lay back and fall into a deep, profoundly relaxed sleep. I do not believe I've slept so well since my family died. When I awaken in the morning, I'm delighted to find that Jenna is still in my arms. I gently lift a lock of hair from her eyes and smile. Slowly, her eyes open and meet my gaze. Good morning. She's so beautiful in this early sunlight. Good morning yourself. I kiss her, and she melts into my arms. Her body clasps itself against me as if in sudden relief. A sharp knock comes at the door. Anna, are you awake? We spring apart, hurriedly throwing on clothing. "Indira, your shirt is on backwards," she whispers. "Right, so it is, thank you." I doff the shirt, reverse it, and slip it over my body just as the door swings open. "Hey, buddy," Jenna says, a big, nervous smile on her face. "How are you doing?" Ray's eyes move slowly from her to me, then they open wide. "Uncle Indy, you're okay!" He runs up and tackles my legs. I laugh and pat his back. "I knew you were going to be okay," Ray says. "Uncle Indy is the strongest there is." Jenna and I share a laugh. Ray pulls away from me, his little face scrunched up in thought. "Hey," he says, looking back and forth between the two of us. "How come Uncle Indy is sleeping in your room?" We exchange glances and she laughs nervously. "Well, about that. What do you think about Uncle Indy moving in with us, Ray?" Ray's mouth forms an O. His eyes sparkle with awe. "Forever?" Jenna looks over at me. I smile and pat his head. "Forever," I say. "Yai, Uncle Indy is coming home. And the rabbits, too. Of course I will bring my rabbits. Enough about the rabbits." Jenna puts her hands on her hips and looks at both of us. It's time for breakfast. We spend the entire day like a family. I find that the guilt of losing my first family no longer weighs down on me so heavily. I will always miss them. I will always love them. But Jenna is right. Magda would not want me to live in misery, alone. She would want me to be happy. I know that I have her blessing to be with Jenna. I look at Jenna's smiling face and remember all of the things I put her through when I was trying to get her to leave. She never gave up on me, even when I had given up on myself. That is something that I can never repay her for, a gift of life. I had not been kidding when I said she lifted me from the darkest abyss imaginable. She gave me back my life, and I would rip 1,000 wolves asunder, suffer the barbs of 1,000,000 dark elf poisoned darts to be with her. Jenna is the perfect mate. I want her. I want her forever. At the end of the day, Ray yawns sleepily in my lap. Jenna comes over to me and reaches down and takes him in her arms. "Come on, little guy. Time for you to go to bed." She carries him off into his bedroom. A moment later, she returns. Jenna comes over to me, a smile on her face. Her eyes dance with a mischievous light as she lifts her dress to reveal her naked hole. I feel a twitch in my member, but I have to delay our pleasure for a time. "I cannot wait to bed you when I return," I growl, taking her in my arms. "When you return, where are you going?" "I need to visit Chief Harrick's house." "Oh." She kisses me on the tip of my nose, which seems to amuse her greatly. I don't mind. Her laughter is like music to me. "Well, don't stay out too late. I'll be waiting for you, Indira." "I love you." I kiss her again. "I love you, too. Now go. Be the big, important orc elder commander that you are." I smile and take my leave. The night insects buzz as I make my way down the darkened streets toward the chief's house. I rap on the door and a guard announces my arrival. Chief Harrick appears, his brow furrowed in surprise. "Why, it's you, Indira. And walking quite well, it seems. I should have known you were too stubborn to stay on your back for the full 3 weeks. Come inside. I have just opened a cask of elderberry wine in celebration of the birth of my son. A most excellent vintage." I smile gratefully. "That sounds most enticing, my chief, but I'm actually here to see your wife, if she's feeling strong enough." "Yes, she grows stronger by the minute. I will take you to her." He leads me to the 2nd level. There we come upon the door to the nursery just as Geneva closes it behind her. "Oh, Indira! What a nice surprise!" My old friend gives me a hug, and then the chief excuses himself. "Pardon me. I have other guests who need my attention. The 2 of you are welcome to join us, of course." "You honor me, my chief, but I promised Jenna I would not be gone over long. She worries for my health." "I understand." I turn to Geneva. "You're looking well, old friend." "I'm feeling much stronger now, thank you." Her brows climb high on her face. Why have you come to me after dark? You look very serious. I am very serious. I take a deep breath. I love Jenna. No, Sherlock. Excuse me. I blink in confusion. Never mind. Human expression. It means what you said is quite obvious to all. Do go on. I love Jenna and seek to make her my mate. She smiles ear to ear. If you're asking me if I approve, I have to say, most enthusiastically, yes. I think it's a fantastic idea. The two of you are a good match. I'm pleased that you think so. I have some questions about the human mating ritual, though. I think you mean the wedding ritual, she laughs. To humans, the mating ritual means something else. I shrug. Wedding, then. How does one go about it? Well, the first thing you need to do is get yourself a ring. A ring? I look at the iron ring around my wrist. Like the one I use to deflect parrying counters? No, like this ring. She shows me her finger. Gold is a good metal, and if you can find a nice gemstone to go in it, even better. One of the children Ray plays with has parents who craft jewelry. I will ask them. Another fine idea. Now, after you have the ring, you need to take her somewhere special and propose. Propose what? Marriage. She laughs softly. Here, let me demonstrate. And don't fuss, I'm fine. She takes my hand and goes down on one knee. Jenna, my love, will you marry me? I laugh at the way she imitates my gruff voice. With your assistance, Geneva. How can she refuse?
Chapter 27. Jenna. My dreams are of warmth and sunshine, safe in the embrace of my orc lover. I've never slept so well as I do when snuggled up next to Indira's comforting bulk. I awaken with a smile on my face. My eyes open to see the gentle light of dawn splashed on the ceiling of my bedroom. I know it's shortly after the sun has risen. Rolling over, I stretch my arm out in search of Indira. There's time yet to cuddle close before Ray gets us up. My hand pats only an empty mattress. I purse my lips and frown. I see Indira's broad, muscled back a few feet from the bed as he slips into his breeches. Where are you going so early? He starts at the sound of my voice. Indira turns his face toward me. He almost looks guilty, as if I've caught him in the middle of something he shouldn't be doing. I have a few simple errands to run. I will return by lunchtime, but do not prepare any food. I give him a long sideways look. What's wrong? He says with entirely too much innocence. You're acting weird. Are we going to eat lunch with the chief in Geneva? Is that why you don't want me to prepare a meal? No, it is another matter entirely. A surprise. Now I'm really suspicious. The bar rings out a total of 7 times, and he stares out the window anxiously. I must go. Indira puts one knee on the bed and leans over to kiss me. His kiss distracts me from my suspicions, lasting a few moments even after he's moved away from the bed and heading for the door. By the time I remember that I was supposed to be grilling him, he's gone. Oh, you are one smooth operator, Indira. I laugh and squirm around delightedly in bed. I catch a short nap before Ray awakens me inquiring about breakfast. We enjoy a repast of dried meats, cheese, olives, and sliced apples on a crusty oat bread Phyllis baked en masse yesterday evening. The freshness of the apple offsets the olive's heaviness nicely. At least on mine. Ray only eats the cheese and the apple. Then Ray and I head out to the garden and work in the warm morning sun. Ray does more than just play with the rabbits now. Indira has taught the child to love pulling weeds, which is great because pulling weeds sucks. His tiny body is perfect because he can squat down and grab it with both hands and stand up. The sun climbs across the azure sky until it reaches its zenith. I frown as the sun inches past its highest point. Indira said he would be back by now, but where is he? As if on cue, the rabbits start going crazy. They can hear Indira before we can. I stand up and wipe my hands on my apron as the towering orc comes through the garden gate. Uncle Indy, you're back. Ray runs up and hugs his leg. Indira pats his back. Have you told the secret? No, Ray says. I've been a good boy. What secret? I ask. Loosen lips, then blood drips, Ray says, quoting an oft-used orc phrase about the dangers of spilling secrets into the wrong ears. I turn to Indira and put my hands on my hips. You're entering into conspiracies against me with a 3-year-old. He only smiles and pulls a long, soft, dark cloth from his pocket. Do you trust me? He asks. Yes, I reply. Of course I trust you. Good. He holds the cloth up to my face and I laugh. What are you doing? He doesn't answer, but he doesn't have to. Obviously he's blindfolding me. A brief flash of memory comes back to me, one of Harold blindfolding me and then tormenting me with a lit cigar and an ice cube. They felt the same in the dark, so I never knew if I were being burned or not. But the horror of that moment fades. Indira is not Harold. Indira would never hurt me. He might toss me into the bed or pull my hair when he takes me from behind, or I hope he will at least, but he would never, ever hurt me or Ray. He's already proven he'll risk life and limb to keep us safe. There's only one person on this planet I would trust to blindfold me, except maybe Geneva, and that's Indira. He picks me up in his arms and I laugh as my feet leave the ground. Where are you taking me? I told you it's a surprise. Ray laughs and dashes about. From the sound of things, he's literally running circles around us. I expect my journey in his arms to be brief. I'm mistaken. He carries me for quite a distance. I'm not sure where, but I know we left the city walls at some point. The smell of fresh water and honeysuckle fills the air. He sets me down at last, onto a soft surface. I can smell the grass before my fingers weave through the blades. You can take off the blindfold now. I slip the cloth off my eyes, and I blink in the bright sunlight. After only being able to see a thin line of light at the bottom of my field of vision, it's almost painful for a moment until my eyes adjust. I see a checkered blanket spread out before me, laden with food. Birds chirp in the trees overhead. A merry brook babbles a short distance away, the water shimmering in the afternoon sun. You brought me to the meadow, I say with great appreciation. I turn to Indira and hug him tight. I really wanted to do this before you left the last time. I know, I was a fool not to do so. Indira kisses the top of my head. I wanted to make it up to you ever since, but my infirm condition prevented it. We all sit down on the blanket together. Indira serves up a platter for myself and Ray before feeding himself. The picnic is lovely as the weather. I feel a great sense of peace descend upon me. The bunker and Harold's obsessive, abusive ways seem far away now. Another lifetime. All that matters now is the present happiness I share with Indira. He's finally letting himself feel, no longer held down by the chains of guilt. I know that I can't replace his first wife, and I don't want to. The love that he and I share is not diminished by the love they shared, and vice versa. Ray runs himself ragged chasing butterflies as the two of us share a bottle of honey mead. The sweet, syrupy concoction has just enough kick to it to not be cloying. Thank you for bringing me out here. It's a wonderful surprise. He sets his flagon down on the blanket and gives me a long, inscrutable stare. What? I say when it grows uncomfortable. The picnic is not the surprise. It is only the preamble. He stands up and offers me his hand. I take it and stand as well. What are you doing? In response, he sinks down to one knee on the grass and holds out his hand. Inside his massive green palm lies an ornately carved wooden box. He flips the box open and reveals a golden ring with a glittering green gemstone. It takes me a moment to realize why the colour of the gemstone is so familiar. It's the colour of my eyes. Jenna, will you be my mate? Marry me. I clap my hands over my face, steepling my fingers over my nose as the tears begin to fall. I nod quickly as I struggle to gain the composure to speak. "Yes," I gasp between sniffles. "Yes." There isn't much left of the world after the orcs came.
Savage. Brutal. Merciless.
If you're a woman, you're property. Even to other humans.
What happens when an orc stakes his claim on a human woman? Who would dare to stop him?
Me.
Chapter 28. Idra. I have never been happier than I am now that Jenna has accepted my marriage proposal. I rise to my feet, take her in my arms, and kiss her deeply. We pack up the picnic and collect Ray. When we return to our home in the stronghold, Jenna is surprised to find Phyllis sitting on the stone bench outside. "Phyllis, what are you doing here?" The two women embrace, and then Phyllis gestures toward Ray. "Oh, Idra asked if I could watch Ray for a while this afternoon and evening." Phyllis catches my gaze and winks. I smile widely and nod as she bends over to meet Ray on his own eye level. "Hey, little guy, you want to come and play with my kids for a while?" "Yeah!" Ray jumps up and down. Phyllis and Ray depart, and I turn to face Jenna's knowing gaze. "You big sneak. You arranged all of this, didn't you?" "I dearly hoped that you would say yes. If you said no, an afternoon alone together could have been awkward." "Well, I'm feeling a lot of things, but awkward isn't one of them." She traces her finger down my chest. I grab her wrist in my hand and she gasps. On reflex, her other hand comes up and I trap that as well. I push her further into the home, away from the front door. I kiss her there in the middle of the common room. Her lips taste even sweeter today, if such a thing were possible. I move her back against the wall. She gasps as I pull her hands up over her head and pin them to the wall. Her wrists are pinned under my left hand, leaving my right free. I grab her chin and hold her firmly while I take her lips again. She moans softly into my mouth. I pull away enough to look in her sea-green eyes. My finger travels down her face, over her shoulder to the strap of her sundress. As much as Samara and I want to finish what these two characters have started, it looks like this chapter is about to get too hot for this platform to handle.
Unfortunately, we have to pause here because their guidelines won't allow us to reveal the spiciest details.
To keep bringing you these free audiobooks, we have to follow their rules.
But don't worry. You can experience the full, unabridged version over at worldsofprothika.com, where the boundaries of passion and fantasy collide.
Use code YouTube30 for 30% off any of our unabridged audiobooks set in the rich and immersive worlds of Prothika.
Prothika's magic is eternal.
With these scenes, it will be unforgettable.
Chapter 29. Jenna. I feel mounting excitement as the evening darkens into night. The moon begins the climb toward its zenith. When the gibbous white and grey orb hits the highest point in the night sky, Idra and I will be joined together as mates. For humans, weddings can be a lot of different things. Sweet, heartwarming, funny, or a mix of all of the above. For the orcs, a mating ritual is a deeply sacred and solemn affair. Geneva made that very clear. If I wanted to go through with an orc wedding ritual, it would not be the same as what I would expect from a human one. I wasn't too worried about that. The way that Harold ran the bunker, women were property to be traded. There were no wedding ceremonies. If a woman gave a man a child, he would sometimes call her his wife, but it didn't improve or change her station overmuch. so I'd never been one of those girls who meticulously planned out all the details of her wedding. I was happy with Indira, no matter what the particulars involved. It seemed to me that an orc wedding would be appropriate. Besides that, Indira has resumed his standing in orc society. Essentially, his leadership and influence are based as much of what the other orcs think of him as anything else. My not only agreeing to, but insisting on an orc ceremony is an important symbolic gesture that brings humans and orcs together. Besides, it makes Indira happy, and that's all that really matters, because if he's happy, I'm happy, and vice versa. As the hour draws near for the ceremony, the shamans visit me. Deskar has worn a more elaborate headdress than usual tonight, one with a totem pole of progressively smaller animal skulls atop its crest. He smiles when he sees me wearing the traditional orc wedding dress, which is to say, I'm naked but for the symbols painted on my body. I have on an elaborate feathered headdress with a detachable eye mask. I will don the mask before making my final approach to the altar. You look perfect. The ancestors are smiling down on us with satisfaction. The old orc tears up a little. When first you came, I had no idea how much you would bring to us, Jenna whose eyes shine. Jenna whose eyes shine. Your official tribal name. His eyes widen. Do not tell me you have forgotten that not only are you joining with Indira, you are joining the war god's tribe. Of course, I didn't forget. When you join the tribe, they give you a new name. I thank you for my tribal name. Geneva moves into my field of vision, balancing her and Harrick's child on her hip. Are you nervous? About the entire tribe seeing me naked? Why would I possibly be nervous? She laughs. In the gentle moonlight, you will not be so exposed as all of that. The sound of drums starts up, and her eyes brighten. The time has drawn near. Come. She takes my hand and leads me outside to a meadow outside the city walls. The tribe has lined up, men on one side, women on the other. The men pound war drums, and the women sing a cascading chorus, creating an almost hypnotic effect. Ahead, I see a line split between the two sides, where I'm meant to walk. Shamans spin their staffs about in elaborate patterns, creating a trail of glowing light from the tip. They create simple shapes and patterns in the air, with the lingering lights, like birds or stars or the moon. I step up under an altar made of twisted branches and interwoven with wildflowers. The fragrant smell mingles with my own sweat and the sticky clay-based body paint as I turn to face Indira. He too is nude but for body paint and a mask. The chief raises his hands in the air and a hush falls over the gathered crowd. The drums cease and the singing stops just like that. He does not speak for several long moments. My heart thunders in my chest like the sound of stampeding bison. I struggle to keep my suddenly watery knees from buckling. Tonight, under the light of Mother Moon at her strongest point, there can be no secrecy. There can be no lies. He gestures between the two of us. You have hidden your faces behind masks, but you cannot hide your souls from Mother Moon. If you speak falsely, she will know, and will burn you with silver pillars of flame. Damn, this is serious. With orc magic, you never know how much is hyperbole and how much is real. I guess it's a good thing that Indira and I are a legit couple. I try not to smile. I don't want to ruin the ceremony and make Indira look bad. Besides, their solemn attitude is catching. I'm starting to see that the orcs take marriage very, very seriously. It's quite heartening, actually. Elder Indira, he who has slain more dark elves than there are blades of grass on the Great Plain, do you love this woman? I do love her. His baritone brooks not an ounce of doubt. And will you promise to cherish and defend her always? I promise on my life. The chief turns to me and repeats the first question. Jenna, whose eyes shine, she who has saved a child from tyranny and raised him as her own, she who has healed this orc's soul, the preserver of the orc ways, do you love this man? I look at him and now I can't help but smile. Yes, I love him. And do you promise to cherish and defend him, always? I promise, always. My heart flutters as the chief reaches his hands out toward both our faces. He takes the masks away. You have spoken truly. Look upon each other now and embrace as one. Idra holds me in his arms, and he presses his lips on top of my own. It's the sweetest kiss ever. The drums and singing pick up again as we pull away from each other. I'm not clear on what I'm supposed to do at this part of the ceremony. It's quite simple. I'm going to carry you to the top of that cliff, and we will make love, nearest Mother Moon. Oh, what about the wedding guests? We don't have to entertain them or say goodbye. I turn toward the wedding guests and find that they have, mingled. There's no way to describe a solemn event with ritualistic chanting and strict male and female segregation, which suddenly shifts gears into a full-on orgy. I guess they'll be entertaining themselves. The ancestors bless your union, Dekar says, setting his staff against the wall. He begins peeling out of his ceremonial robes as two elder female orcs come in from either side and caress his hairy chest. May you make a baby on this enchanted evening. I yelp as Idra scoops me off my feet and makes for the hill. I love you, I say with a sigh. I love you too. He kisses me rough, and then strides up toward the cliff, silhouetting us against the moonlight for all below. Not that they're paying any attention, of course.
Chapter 30. Idra. My strength has fully returned, allowing me to easily bear my new bride up the grassy hill. She clings to me, kissing my chest and making mewling sounds. Our naked skin heats up as it slides against each other. I can hear my pulse thundering in my ears. I carry her to the top of the moonlight-drenched hill. The grasses and wildflowers wave in the gentle breeze. The amber lights of fireflies flare into existence before slowly fading in a mating ritual even older than the ones we orc practice. We're so high in the air, you can barely hear the thundering drums on the plain below. I carry her to where the shamans have prepared a specially padded blanket on the grass. Not only is it softer than even our bed at home, it also repels insects from coming near us. I stand looming over her. Jenna smiles up at me and thrusts her hips upward. She spreads her thighs and her pink folds part to reveal the dripping wet softness within. I sink to my knees and hook my shoulder behind her knees. This scene is about to get too steamy for this platform's comfort. As much as we'd love to keep going, their guidelines say we need to stop here.
To continue releasing these free audiobooks on this platform, we've got to play by the rules.
The passion doesn't end here.
Visit worldsofprothika.com to hear the full, uncut version of this fantasy romance, and every daring moment that YouTube can't handle.
Use code YouTube30 for 30% off unabridged audiobooks in the Worlds of Prothika.
Don't let YouTube hold you back. Immerse yourself in a world of magic, danger, and unfiltered passion.
Prothika's magic is eternal.
Listen unabridged and you'll never want to go back.